What's up, Chicago Bears fans? It's this feels like a solemn show, Brandon. This is the bare minimum, brought to you by 4 Star Chicago Sports. I'm Dustin Jones. That's Brandon Duplessis. This is gonna be the first bare minimum we've done since what, week 5, when there wasn't gonna be a Bears game after it. So that feels meaningful. This is gonna be the last bare minimum of like the Bears having played a game the week before. So, we're just going to talk about it, man. We're going to talk about this season. We're going to talk about that game a
No
little
more
bit.
preview shows.
Yep, that's what I was just saying. Thanks. We're going to talk about what we're looking forward to with this team, and whatever y'all want to talk about, throw it in the chat. I'm excited for this show, Brandon. I think the future is bright here in Chicago. Let's get it.
Windy City banners rocking 4 stars align. Dynasty dreams rise, Bulls in their prime. Cubs curse shattered, the victory divine. Fields be running, clock ticking on my timeline. Shot-town heroes, legends never fade. Black Hawks flying, cutting ice with the blade. White Sox diamonds, the Southside parade. 4 stars shine bright, legacies they made. Mike with the crown, air rain, no dispute. Sweetness in the backfield, Walter in pursuit. Bear down Sunday's midfield, battles cute. Chicago.
Brandon, my man, it's good to see you. I want to really keep things in perspective. Like Monday, we did our show and it was still raw. The wound was still open. The game had just happened, a lot of emotion and a few days removed. I really want to try to lend some perspective to how this season ended for ourselves, for anybody that cares to listen, and just really hopefully people in the chat got some perspective to lend as well, because we want to hear it. I think there's a lot of good things to say about this season, and I want to say all of them. Sometimes you miss some stuff, and when you go back and watch that game, there's some things that the Bears missed too, that there's still some regrets there. But at the end of the day, it was a phenomenal season. So that's really the way I want to approach this, Brandon. And let's get to it. I just want to say, John S., thank you for being here. You've been with us
What's up, John?
this whole time, John.
What's up, AC Adam?
AC in the building. We appreciate y'all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for being here. You've made this a really fun season as well for us on the bare minimum, on 4 Star Chicago Sports, the Household Hangover. You guys are awesome. And hopefully there's more to come from us, and there's more to come in the chat here tonight. Brandon, the one thing I want to say real quick about that game, because I think we should dive into the game a little bit, right? And then kind of take a broader look at everything. A lot has been made of Ben Johnson, and I want to know your thoughts on this. A lot has been made of Ben Johnson and how he approached that game. Should he have taken the field goals? If he had, you really be looking at a 19-17 game, really, at the end of the regulation, if he had taken those field goals, just theoretically, right? I personally, after thinking about it and really thinking about the way this season played out with Ben Johnson, I want him to be who he is, and that is who he is. And he's a guy who's going to trust his team. He's going to put it all on the line. He's going to go for it. He's going to continue to be aggressive. I don't think it's going to change, Brandon. And I'm good with it. I'm good with our coach being himself. And as we said on Monday, until he wasn't, when it was time to go for that 2-point conversion at the end of the game. How do you feel about that? I don't have regrets about him not taking the field goals. That is who Ben Johnson is. That's what he has shown us all year. We can't ask him to be something different in the biggest game of the season.
Yeah, I think you live by the sword, right? I mean,
you died by it. Yeah.
Ben's pretty aggressive as a coach, as a play caller in short down situations. And I thought, the 2-yard 2-point conversion was something that Ben Johnson, of all coaches in the NFL, was going to do. And I'll be honest, so it surprised me that he kind of took his foot off the gas there after going for it, after how many 4th downs this team didn't complete. So, it's I don't have much to say negatively about Ben Johnson, man, regardless of how that game went. I mean, Ben Johnson's going to make mistakes the same as Caleb Williams does.
But were they mistakes, I guess, is my question in your mind, because I don't view them as such when that is who Ben Johnson is.
So here's the thing to me, Dustin.
Maybe the play calls, some of those were mistakes.
If you're the coach that takes the field goals, then you're the coach that kicks the extra point.
Yep.
If you're the coach that continuously fails in the red zone on 4th down, then you got to be the coach that's willing to go for it to win it all. Like, and I
Because
truthfully,
that's just one play that ends the game.
yeah,
And
and I believe,
and as you said, Ben Johnson is one of the best in the league at designing that one play that can get you the yards you need in that moment. It just wasn't
absolutely.
working out in that game up to that point. So I understand his hesitation, Brandon. Go ahead. I'm just
Well, no, I
adding
just with
context.
the amount of weapons you have on this team, I just don't see. And Colson Lovell was gone for that play, but I just don't see the Rams being able to muster enough to defend it all, man. I think that you would have had an open player on that play, and I like the ball in Caleb's hands when he needs to win.
Because he seems to excel and come through in those moments.
Yeah, it was strange, man. It felt like because they were tied as opposed to down, that's the reason the result was different.
You got a different Caleb.
Yeah.
I'll say
Which
this.
I thought Caleb was great. I did, but like he's Mr. Clutch. He's the guy. So like was it a result of playing comfortably?
No, it
Not
was a
playing
result, Brandon. He
but
said it.
not playing chaotically like they do.
For sure. And not going for the 2 was a result of them having some issues throughout the game in terms of those short yardage, 3rd and short, 4th and short. I'll say this, Brandon, about the 2-point conversion. When I think about it, it's like, what are the Rams gonna feel and think if you come out for that 2-point conversion versus come out for that extra point? I guarantee I like the thing that makes them shit their pants when you decide to do it, because the Rams would have shit their pants if the Bears went for 2.
Yeah.
And I think they breathed a sigh of relief when he came out and did the extra point, because you knew there was a possibility Ben Johnson would do it. And I think the Rams would have really hated for the Bears to go for 2 in that situation, which makes me really think the Bears should have done it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was, after that game ended the next day, you're reading so much about who did what and who's to blame. But the one thing I just didn't really hear a lot about was that call.
I've heard people talk about it, man. It's been a topic of discussion. I given that I am okay with who Ben Johnson is, and that's why he goes for it in those situations, and just being at peace with that. There was a big part of me that expected he would go for that too. I was surprised when I saw the extra point unit come out. The field goal unit came out. I was surprised by that. I thought, this is the moment, you just take it. And there's that old adage, like, when you're at home, you play for overtime. When you're on the road, you play to win the game, like, type of thing. You've always heard that growing up, in football. But I just don't think Ben Johnson is that type of dude. And we said it on Monday, man. When he went against himself and who he is, he wasn't true to himself in that moment. It felt like that was the worst moment for him of the game, to me. And I agree with you on that.
Which would theoretically be the worst moment for him of this season, which is something our head coach will learn from.
Yeah. I mean, you think back to when he was standing on the sideline saying should have gone for it. You wonder if that's one of those moments for Ben Johnson.
Yeah, regret. I would imagine. Yeah, but his team had an opportunity in overtime to win the game. So maybe he feels like he made the right call.
Yeah, and I mean, it's who are we to sit here and second guess Ben Johnson? I just love the aggressiveness of Ben Johnson, and I thought it was the way to go in that situation. But that being said, they had the ball in overtime with a chance to win the game, and they turned the ball over.
That you said the most, man, and I didn't know who Ben Johnson was going to be as a head coach, as like a leader of men. Me and you talked about it, Dustin. There were some questions. He's a rookie. We'd never seen it, but I said all offseason, like, this dude is just aggressive and he just keeps defenses on their heels. And like you said, if you throw your offensive unit out there on that play, even if they just try to draw some sort of penalty, Sean McVay's going to be sweating a little bit. And that's the idea.
That whole team
that's the idea.
Yeah.
That's what Ben Johnson
keep the pressure on them. Keep the pressure on them.
Keeping the defense on their heels, making them letting them feel that they're not just going to get off the field if they stop you on 3rd down. That's heartbreaking. We talked about that. It's backbreaking, dude. To get it stop on 3rd down, then see the offense come right back on the field. I thought Ben should have at least approached it that way. If he wanted to kick an extra point, he should have just brought Caleb out and let him try to, a hard count or something. I really feel like
So you get the ball on the 1
after the
instead of the
touchdown
2?
to
Is that
Komet,
what you're saying?
well, the touchdown to
Is
Komet,
what's the goal of the penalty? You still need the point.
you had
You
the
still
you had
need the
the
point.
you had the fan base out there. Well, yeah, but it's half the distance, 1 yard. It's half the
Yeah, so
distance.
then
That's
you
the
that
difference.
that solidifies you going for it, so it's still kind of the
But
same thing. I
Caleb
mean,
had just thrown that touchdown to Komet. You had the crowd on your side. The building was loud. I mean, I would have used that moment, man.
I listen. Again, it's hard to sit here and second guess a head coach who did as well as Ben Johnson did this year, and who I think is going to just continue to get fucking better. AC Adam brings this up when it comes to Ben Johnson's decision making. He says, "No one." And real quick, guys, hit the like button, please. I know y'all are all subscribed, but share it with somebody who's not. It might make their day. AC says no one talks about BJ not icing the kicker. It worked to perfection the prior week. He's talking about the overtime kick that won the game. I didn't know if he was going to. I made the point the previous because it did work the previous week, or maybe he missed them both. So I don't know if it worked or didn't work. I think he was just gonna miss.
It's
But
just a
like,
shitty kicker.
yeah, and then Soldier Field with the way that wind was blowing, it wasn't a good look for him. But Ben throughout the season has just not iced kickers. I made that point when he did ice McManus. I was like, why did he do that? Because I didn't think he needed to. And I didn't think he needed to in that overtime game either. I thought Mevis was going to miss it on the Thursday show. I said he will miss a kick, and then you said hopefully he doesn't make a kick to win the game. So you fucking jinxed it. It was that was you.
Yeah, but I knocked on wood.
I didn't, but he just hasn't iced kickers throughout the season. It's just not something that he's done in those situations. Maybe he could have. Maybe it would have made a difference. I don't know. I think Ben has stated before, like they have a lot of analytics on that when it comes to what guys are affected by that and what guys aren't. And I would imagine the analytics and the stats that they had on Mevis said it's not going to affect this guy one way or the other. It hasn't affected him in previous situations. So that's why Ben didn't ice the kicker, I would imagine. The other thing, Brandon, about that game that I wanted to get to, because it's something that I've felt very passionately about, was that interception, that final pass. Dwayne, how you doing, brother? That final pass that Caleb Williams threw, meant for DJ Moore, ended up in Cameron Curl's hands. I was irate watching that in real time. I was irate watching the replays. I got even more furious watching all the replays circulating on X. You see Chase Daniel break it down. You see who's your QB school guy, JT O'Sullivan, right? You see him break it down, and they're just calling out effort. And you've seen these guys call out DJ Moore's effort, throughout multiple seasons. And it's just like, I've always defended DJ Moore because I felt like he was misunderstood. I think he runs his routes in a certain way where it can look like he might not be giving effort. But on that route, Brandon, and we've talked about him giving up on plays too. That's just been a thing that's been talked about with DJ. I have defended him. Me and you, Brandon, have argued on this show back and forth about DJ Moore and you calling out his effort and me defending him. But on that play in particular, when you're a player that hasn't had a winning season in your entire career, the game is on the line. It's the biggest moment of your career. And that is the effort you give for your quarterback and for your team on that play. I just have a really hard time defending it. I think there's a high probability DJ Moore's gone this year, and it's not a thing of they don't want him on the team. It's just the business decision they're going to have to make, Brandon, in terms of the salary cap. And if they're able to trade him, I think they're going to take advantage of that opportunity. But I just don't know how you give that kind of effort on that route on the biggest play of your entire fucking career, Brandon. I don't. DJ Moore's done a lot of good things for this team, and I love the guy. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not like I texted y'all, he was a bitch in that moment. But I'm not there no more. I was very furious, frustrated in the moment. I know DJ is a big part of this team, and he made some big plays for this team to get them where they got them. But I'm still very frustrated about that play, Brandon. How do you feel? Pilgrim, what's up?
Well, let me start by saying this, man. I think DJ
100%, John.
is a Packer
100%.
killer. I think let's just evaluate DJ in his entirety. I think he's a Packer killer. He was missing for the first half of the season. I texted you guys as a joke. I'm checking trunks, but I mean, the guy
On a
just,
milk carton, you're saying, huh?
yeah, this guy just wasn't fucking there. And then that makes me question, because, you know, Luther Burden and Colson Lovin obviously had to be installed in this offense. Was DJ installed early in the season? And if he was Caleb just choosing to go to Rome more often than not? And does that make Rome a better option anyways? But then I
What's up,
want to say
Ant?
this. I want to say this because we've been having this conversation in this text thread back and forth for days, man. I was so that all the fans here watching this show, I was
Just
a
do me a
fan.
favor. Don't bring up Roma Dunze right now. Let's
No,
keep
I
it
was
on
a
the DJ
fan
play.
of trading DJ Moore before that play.
I think it was the logical thing if you're looking at how this team is constructed and
No,
what
if
you're going to need to do in this offseason.
If
Yes.
you're a business guy, it makes sense. Especially if DJ Moore is a piece that somebody still looks at as valuable with the contract that he has. Can you move him for something big? Can a Max Crosby end up on this team? Without a doubt, you make that move. But on
100%.
that play, DJ Moore did something that I personally feel, DJ Moore's done time and time again. I don't know why what happened in that moment, Dustin, as you asked. Like, it's the biggest moment of his career. Yeah, all the things that tied to that play. But he's been a guy I've questioned effort out of for years.
Yeah,
And
Brandon, he has. And just real quick, my first thought, like after that game was over, was me and Brandon were arguing about this shit, and Brandon was fucking right. How stupid was I to defend this guy when that's what he puts on tape in the biggest moment of his career? That's what I thought.
And what's disappointing is it doesn't even come as a surprise to me. But and John here makes a good point. I read this after the fact. The guy left.
Yeah, that's why I left this comment up here. He didn't talk to media. He still has not talked to media. Ben Johnson has come out and taken accountability and said, Ben Johnson said, I take accountability for that. I should have coached it up better. Caleb Williams has talked about it numerous times at this point, and DJ Moore has said nothing about it. DJ Moore, let's remember, has been one of the most outward-facing faces of the Chicago Bears since he has been here. He's been a guy that's been up at the podium consistently. He always has something to say. He's always talking to the media. It's very strange for him to not to. So it makes me feel like he knows he don't want to answer the questions that the media has because he knows what he put on tape.
Yeah, and it begs the question, man. Like, who does DJ blame? Is he? Do you think that he is refuting?
I would be putting it on myself
because of his tape, or do you think he's refuting an interview because he doesn't want to say anything about his teammate? That's
an interesting question, Brandon. I haven't thought about that. Like, I couldn't even imagine. Well, I would be putting it on myself.
Courtney Cronin reported that he hasn't reached out to Caleb. They haven't spoken since the season ended.
Mm-hmm.
I thought these guys were close.
Well, Caleb said in his end of year press conference, like yesterday, that they still haven't talked about the play.
Yeah,
that's what Caleb said.
I mean,
they haven't talked at all yet.
And I want to say, for all the people who believe it was, listen, man.
What's up, Jed?
I want to say this. I don't want this. This is becoming the blame game. Like, literally, that's why we're going to know this game as the Rams game.
Yeah, it's the 7 stages of grief.
Yeah, who do we point at to credit for losing this football game when the team is accountable in its entirety? But
the whole team, yes, Brandon, you are correct.
You said something on Monday that I had to think back on and reassess, and it's just true. Who else did you question for effort in that football game?
Nobody. Everybody left it all on the fucking field until that play.
Who else on this football team have we questioned at all for effort, body language, besides DJ Moore? And Ben Johnson made a point to say
when he came into the team, yeah.
When he came to the team, he had to talk to DJ about his body language. But Ben Johnson just recently said Caleb needs a better relationship with his receivers. I think that means it's got a lot to do with the receivers. Like, I think that's Ben Johnson stating you can blame Caleb, and sure, he's got credibility. Of course, he was in the play, but that play was because of lack of communication and not
or understanding what you needed to do on the play.
Because it's not verbal. It's just those two.
There's
should
a
be
lot of green
sync.
over here. I should be cutting my route off and going over
Yeah.
here, and I should be hauling ass to help my quarterback because he's going to trust me on this play
And
to
this
make the
is
play
throw.
really that wins the game.
And this is
That
the
play,
throw.
that throw
Ben called.
wins the game. Yes.
DJ knows that. I'm the
Yep.
guy. I'm read one. I mean, Caleb didn't really make too many reads on that play. It was DJ or nothing. And like, you gotta get out there and fucking.
Well, from
Listen.
some of the tape breakdown, it seems that maybe Burden might have been the primary. That nobody's like really seemed to be sure, and Ben Johnson hasn't come out and said that. But DJ became the guy on the route regardless, and he was running it like he was running that route like he didn't expect to get the ball. You know, and that's what we've talked about with DJ. Like when he doesn't think he's getting the ball, you see that lack of effort come through. You saw it last year on multiple occasions, you know.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest, Dustin, and the chat can hate me all day for this, guys. I've been reading this stuff online, people defending DJ Moore, and I understand he's made big plays for this football.
He deserves to be defended. Let's be
But-
clear. DJ does deserve to be defended for a lot of things. He plays hurt. He plays hard. DJ shows up for his team. Ryan Poles said it in his press conference. There's a lot of guys that feel like they got to play hurt because they see DJ Moore doing what he's doing. There are a lot of things to defend DJ Moore for. That play is not one of them, Brett.
No, and I think, I mean, early on after the acquisition, I think it was the only person because the guy was the first real wide receiver you had on this football team in a long time. So I got a lot of flack for him, man. But I think I've questioned his body language since the day he got on this team, and there's a lot of eye rolls. I don't know what happened the day he looked at Bajent and yelled something. It looked like he yelled, "Why aren't you out there?" or something. It looks like the Bears have done a really good job of concealing the fact that this
There
guy
was the whole Justin
does
Fields
have
thing.
problems.
There was the whole Justin Fields
Yeah, he
thing
was in
when that
love with the
transition
guy.
was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot to go back and look at.
He
in
actually
this
said
situation.
he actually said during that process, which is remarkable to me, man.
Justin Fields is better than all the guys coming
every
out.
player
Yeah,
in
he
this
said that.
draft.
Yeah, he did say that.
Knowing that the result might be
That one of those guys
these
is on your
guys
fucking
will be your
team,
quarterback.
and your performance is
Yeah.
going to be dependent upon them. Yes.
I don't have as big a problem as the rest of the Bears fans at questioning this guy's mentality. I don't. I never have. So am I surprised to see on that play in the biggest moment of his career after playing for losing teams forever that he didn't give more? Yes. But do I think that this is a new problem? No, Dustin.
No, and that's what's discouraging about it. Like I said, because I've been the guy defending them, and now I'm sitting here thinking like, why did I do that? You know, but again, as I just said, Brandon, there are a lot of things to defend DJ Moore on. This guy gives maximal effort. He plays hurt all the time. He's been a consistent professional.
He plays till he's gassed. I'll say that, man. I've seen numerous games where this guy looks like he's out of it. He's out of energy.
How many times a game does it look like DJ Moore is going to be out for the game and then he's back out the next play after he takes a break?
He's a tough guy.
Yeah, he is. And so I mean, like, there are good things about DJ Moore to talk about too. But when you're talking about that play, you just gotta say, man, like, if he would have ran that route better and harder, the result of that play would have been different. And a lot of people have questioned the play call by Ben Johnson. But again, just like going for it on the fourth downs, that's what Ben Johnson has done all year. He's like, I'm at this position on the field. I need this play to get to that winning position on the field. So that's what I'm drawing up, and I'm going to trust my guys to get there. He knows that's the kill shot. If you nail that play, the game is over. You are going to set yourself up to win it one way or the other. And that's what Ben Johnson does. He goes for the jugular. I do not question that. And Foster says, I only blame the coaching decisions for the loss. I'll throw everything out a tier after that, take points on the first drive, all moot, take the 3, Ben. It already cost you a Super Bowl. Jed says it's either a lack of effort or a lack of awareness on DJ's part. Either option isn't a great look for a number one receiver. At least see where the ball is going and go defend the pass. Those are great comments, guys. We appreciate you. Foster, what's up, man? Great show tonight.
Let's say, guys, theoretically, or hypothetically, let's say DJ Moore has no real. And listen, we did a show about who should potentially be the captains of this team, and I feel like I was pretty stern on saying to you guys, this dude ain't it, and he's not.
And he wasn't picked as one. And he wasn't picked as a captain.
And
There's a reason for
I,
that,
I
Brandon.
think
There is.
regardless of, let's hypothetically
I'm
say
not
that
sure what
play
it is, but there's a reason.
didn't occur. DJ Moore is $100 million player. He's in a tax bracket with a lot of real studs, the Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lambs, Jamar Chases of this league.
He's a tier below those guys. Let's be
And-
real. He's more on like the Terry McLaurin level. I don't even
And
know if
he had
there.
600 yards and he played a full season, guys. And I don't think that it's fair to say, oh, he goes out there every day and he motivates players to play through bad health. Well, first off, maybe he shouldn't, because the guy was ass for 8 weeks of the year.
I don't know if that wasn't about health. That was about the way he was being involved in the system, Brandon. Like the targets were not going his direction. That was a big story at the time. If you remember, like DJ just wasn't getting targets.
We talked about trading him when that was the story.
Brandon, we talked about there was talk about trading him in the offseason before this season started,
this
because
new.
It just makes sense when you pay all these guys and you add all this new stuff to the team, and you're going to be over the cap going into this next offseason, this one we're going into. It makes sense to try to find a place for him. And like, yeah, man, when you say 660 yards and 6 touchdowns from a number one receiver who's making $28.5 million this year, and you say you compare him to Rome Odunze, who's on a rookie deal, who put up identical stats basically in 5 less games. It's just from a financial and a future
from a managerial standpoint, a business standpoint.
If you're considering trading one of them, it's got to be DJ, because it clears up so much cap space for you. And you have Rome under control on a rookie deal, and you've only seen 2 years of him. And now this second year, he was a big part of it, but he was also hurt for a big part of it. So you still haven't seen what he is. So, I mean, just from that standpoint, there's a reason why DJ Moore is top 10 on all these lists of players most likely to be traded. The writing is kind of on the wall.
Yeah, I saw that too on ESPN.
And it's not because of DJ Moore's play, and it's not because of the leader that DJ is or any of those things. It's because of what you're talking about right now, Brendan. The money that he makes and the production that he gives you when you've now added all these weapons.
And it's actually quite the opposite, Dustin, because we know that DJ Moore is a really good football player. He's a really fucking good football player. He plays through exhaustion. Like, I've seen this guy on the field look like he's half dead, and he still puts himself out there and catches the ball. But I want to say this, man, like, because he is a good football player and his contract is
get you something good.
His contract is tier 2. A lot of teams want this guy on
you
the
can
deal
get
that he's
something
on.
good for DJ Moore.
And the money that he's got, a lot of teams are like, that's a quality contract for a guy that you consider to be a number one receiver, man, for another football team. And another thing that we've heard from people, and I've read this online a lot, man, is, well, DJ Moore in the defense of DJ Moore was like, well, there's just too much target share on this team. Like, early in the season, he wasn't there because that's before Rome was injured, before Luther Burden got on the field. Doesn't that kind of say something? Like, doesn't that mean to you that, like, if Luther was integrated and Rome was the guy early on, so DJ just disappeared from this offense, don't you guys feel like maybe you could get rid of one?
I think if there's an odd man out with all these weapons and the money that you got to account
and if you want Luther to have more time on the field, dude,
Brandon,
one of these guys has to go.
Luther Burden's on a rookie contract. Rome Odunze is on a rookie
your
contract.
Starter in the
Colston Loveland is on a rookie contract. You got Jade Walker, who you could potentially bring back on a cheap deal. So, I mean, like, yeah, DJ Moore becomes the odd man out just from a fiscally responsible perspective, just from a team construction perspective, because you are basically 13 million projected over the cap going into this offseason, and you have to clear up space. Now, is this a guarantee that DJ Moore is going to get traded? No. But again, there's a reason that he's on these lists of players most likely to be traded, because it just makes too much sense for what the Bears need to do. And sometimes you got to make tough decisions, especially after a season like the Bears just had. If you're Ryan Poles, you're going to have to make some tough decisions. And I'm not saying I want DJ Moore traded. That's not what I'm saying. I really do like DJ Moore a lot, but it makes too much sense to ignore the conversation. It makes too much sense
depends very much on what the return
to not entertain the idea. Exactly. What can you get for him?
If somebody offers you some bullshit for DJ Moore, you better fucking turn that shit down, dude. because DJ Moore is a quality football
Yeah,
player.
exactly. He's a good player, so that's why he should be able to get you something
Yeah.
good back. So the people that say they would rather have DJ Moore than Roma Dunze, well, that's fair, but so would every other team that you're going to be talking about trading with, probably, right? So like that, you're going to fetch more for a DJ Moore in a trade situation. If Roma Dunze is as bad as everyone says he is, he can't catch the ball. He has bricks for hands, as a lot of people are saying. Why do you think a team's going to trade for him? I don't know.
Yeah, I keep questioning everybody who has a problem with Rome. I continue to question. Well, if he is the guy that you believe he is, what is his trade value? And I want to say this, Dustin, and these statistics and analytics, they don't like it doesn't mean that much, but it says a lot about the business. Guys, a top 10 pick has been traded on their rookie deal less than a dozen times in NFL history. All of the GMs were terminated except for Jerry Jones, and he's the
boss.
He's his boss.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a trend here that makes a lot of sense if you're considering trading Roma Dunes. And I want to ask this for all you Bears fans out there that love this guy, and I like DJ Moore, but for all of you who obsess over the man, what's the word when something means a lot to you? It's old.
What's up, Judah?
Dustin.
What?
Sentimental.
Nostalgic.
I feel like the DJ Moore love is a sentimental thing. Like, what has he done for us and his history here as a Chicago Bear? But if you're looking at these two players' trajectory, which guy do you think is pointing up?
I don't
DJ
want
Moore is a good football player, but with age, he will decline, and he has regressed. And you can say he wasn't involved, he wasn't installed, he wasn't whatever. Guys, remember,
his production regressed.
But
his
remember, yes,
regressed.
it did. And
not
remember,
his play
Luther,
on the field.
What you really got to wrap your head around if you're a Bears fan here, and you explain this to me if you can, Dustin. DJ Moore was at his worst when Luther Burden wasn't even getting fucking snaps. So he was like the guy when he was playing his worst football on this football team. And you can blame Caleb all day, but Caleb's going to throw to the guy that's open.
Brandon, let's say this. I hear a lot of Bears fans saying, just stick with the draft. Just focus on the draft. Build your team through the draft.
That's not how we got Joe Tooney or Jonah Jackson.
That's not my point, though. And then in the same breath, they say, go young, build through the draft. But then in the same breath, they say, trade Roma Dunze and keep DJ Moore. That's the exact opposite of what you're saying. You're not building through the draft. You just drafted this kid number 9 2 years ago. You don't know what he's going to turn into yet because you need 3 years to evaluate these guys at least, and that's what all GMs work off of. So how would it make sense if you're going to build through the draft that you trade a guy you just drafted in the top 10 within the last 2 years, and you keep a guy that you didn't even draft that's older and makes a lot more money? So those two things don't really work together. You can't have one thought process and then that leads you to trade Roma Dunze, keep DJ Moore. Does that make sense?
I like this, Dustin, but it's all contradictive. Every view over DJ Moore is contradictive of the view of Roma Dunze. It doesn't make sense because you can't. I mean, you've got a guy who, I don't know how to say it, that where the lifers won't like. This guy's numbers declined. And they declined when the Bears were at their lowest strength. When Colston Loveland and Luther Burden weren't even really installed in this offense, is when DJ wasn't there. And I gotta wonder, man, how much of this is just passion for the player versus the analytical side of the sport? Because I know you don't like this comparison, but I don't know why you don't, because I feel like it's probably the most responsible comparison.
Because it doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about in my mind.
You cannot believe in one player and not the other. You cannot say to me Marvin Harrison Jr. will still be the guy he was supposed to be and drafted to be, and Roma Dunze is a bust.
I believe they're both going to be the guys they were drafted to be, Brandon. I believe they're both
drop issues. They have had injury issues. They haven't been on the field. They've had trouble getting with consistency. Why would you believe that one guy could still ultimately develop into a pro and the other guy can't? And then you look at the coaching staffs. One just got fucking canned, and one's got Randall L., a guy who pulled Jamison Williams' head out of his own ass. Why would you not believe that Roma Dunze is going to be a better player?
Listen, I believe that Antoine Randall L. believes in Roma Dunze.
I think
I
he
don't
loves
want
him.
to. I don't want to get too deep in this. We got a lot of shit to get to, man. But I will just say that there is a reason that DJ Moore there's high potential for him to be traded this year, and it's not about his performance, and it's not about because the Bears don't like him. The
It's
Bears
not about
fucking
that play.
the Bears don't. Yeah, it's not,
Not about one play.
The Bears love the shit out of DJ Moore, but they might have to make
As
a
do
really
we,
tough decision. Yeah,
as fans.
yeah, we do. We do, and I mean. But I'll just go back to it one more time, man. That play, on that particular play, DJ, I got the shirt
You
of
got
DJ
a
Moore.
T-shirt with DJ
With
Moore.
DJ Moore catching the game-winning
You're
touchdown
a pretty
on the
big
Packers.
DJ Moore guy.
I have defended DJ Moore to the death, man. We have gone at it, but he didn't give it on that play, and it cost his team a chance to go to the NFC Championship, man. That's just what happened. I want to say
it again, guys.
That's what happened.
The idea of trading DJ Moore is not in any way, shape, or form related to the last play of that season or that football game. It's not. It is about the fact that you have got to make room for some pretty special players here. And
you got to make room
on this football team.
You're going to have to make room just to sign draft picks, man.
And Rome's been on this football team. So if you think that one guy will sit for DJ Moore, it's not Rome. It's Luther.
I like all three weapons, to be honest, and it's really not a bad thing if DJ Moore comes back. If they find a way to work the cap and DJ Moore's still on this team,
then you got a kid that's catching touchdowns in Jade Walker, who's goddamn near free. Like, guys, the business aspect of this conversation outweighs anything else, right, Destin? There's no even point to talk about it any further. The business side of this decision.
It's gonna be what dictates what the Bears do.
If you're Ryan Poles, you need to look at this not in terms of how much you love a guy or how much he's done for you. You need to look at this in terms of what assets do you need and what assets can you afford to get rid of? Like that's
Brandon,
the way this conversation goes.
In his year-end press conference, he was asked about DJ Moore. As I said, he talked very highly of him, but he also was asked, is there a possibility he's traded, basically? And his answer was, there's a lot of tough decisions to make this offseason.
Yeah,
that's basically his answer.
They asked, "Are you going to try to possibly acquire Max Crosby?" And he said, "I don't want to talk about that." Like, and he clearly had a face like there's maybe already been some discussion about Max Crosby.
I think his face was more, what a stupid fucking question to ask me right now.
I think he's already inquired multiple times. If you remember, Dustin, last year at the trade deadline, they said, it was reported that Ryan Poles had exercised every single option at pass rusher that he possibly could have. Do you remember that? They said he called teams for players that were guaranteed never going to be traded. He checked every fucking box.
Maybe that comes back to help him.
About Max Crosby.
Now
the Raiders are in a very different position.
Things might change.
It's time to gut it. Yeah, it's time to let it go. So they're changing head coach. They're changing quarterback. They're going to draft Mendoza. And it's probably time to start over.
Yeah, it seems like that is just headed for a split. We'll see what team takes advantage of that. Me and you have been on record saying we would do what needed to be done to get Max Crosby on this team, because I believe this defense really is a Max Crosby away from actually being far more than competent.
Foster, Walker would be still your number 4, maybe even 5. Those two tight ends are Colson Lovin's your
number. Well, he's talking about receivers. I mean, I don't know.
Lovin's your number 1 pass catcher.
I like Jade Walker a lot. It's limited. I'm not ready to count on him in that. I'm not ready to. I wouldn't go so far as to say phenomenal either.
I texted my brother before he played his snap. When they had announced that he was going to play.
We haven't seen enough from him, Brandon.
I texted my brother, he's not a flash in the pan. He's not a preseason phenom.
I think you can see that in the preseason.
He's a quality fucking football player. Yeah. He's a football player that on any other roster with less talent at the position will play a lot of football.
Yeah, the Buffalo Bills could have really used a guy like Jade Walker.
He would have been their best pass catcher.
Yeah, he's got great fucking hands, man. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't think that would be the
And a
worst
good
thing,
separation.
Foster. If you're talking about a receiver room of just speculate, just say DJ Moore does get traded. Again, I'm not advocating for it. Now, I'm not guaranteeing it's going to happen. I just think
There's a
that's
really
the
good
highest
chance.
likelihood.
It's
But
50.
it's Roma Dunze, Luther Burden, Jade Walker, and then maybe you draft someone, maybe you sign someone. I mean, I feel pretty good about that when you consider the fact that, yes, you still have Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet and DeAndre Swift in this offense. I think it's where you can spare something is the pass catchers. That's what I think.
And unfortunately, guys, in a
Well, but
business like
if not
this,
now,
the
when,
NFL,
Foster?
when you have a lot of assets in one unit,
And you're depleted in another
you
unit,
trade the guy
you know,
who's paid the most. And not only paid the most,
especially if you're
you
cash
trade the
strapped.
guy who's oldest. It doesn't make any more sense than it possibly could. And I'm saying all this with love for DJ Moore. But if you said to me, Brandon, DJ Moore, the guy who's made huge plays against his division rival, the guy who's was there for Justin Fields when he had nothing else. If you could trade that guy for a Max Crosby, do you do it? I don't even think about it.
Fuck no, you don't think about it. No, of course. It's just about what
And
your
I look at
team,
it
what your
differently.
team
I don't
needs.
have bias for the player. I look at it as a business. If I think the Chicago Bears
What's going to make the Bears a better
are the
team?
Bears a better football
Yeah.
team in 2026 with Max Crosby instead of DJ Moore, my fucking answer is
100%.
yes,
Yes.
guys.
100%. Yes.
And
Let's
if you
again.
trade Rome, if you're trading a top 10 pick on a rookie contract to keep a guy who's paid $100 million, it doesn't matter how much you love him. You're just an idiot. You're a bad GM. It's a bad decision. It is, Dustin. It's a terrible decision.
Listen,
and I want to say this. Hold on, real
I don't
quick.
want to go so far with this. We've talked about this a lot.
I want to say
now.
this, guys. Roma Dunze has also done a lot for this football team.
He's played hurt. He's made big plays.
He's made big. He's been there,
and he's also had big drops too, Brandon.
Oh,
he's had moments. He's had big drops too. That touchdown drop. I mean, throughout the season. So there's pluses and minuses with all these players, and I just think it comes down to what we said in terms of if a guy's going to get traded, the tea leaves to me say it's DJ Moore all the way. Just based on the salary, based on the age, based on the way this team is moving. And based on the fact that your best player and your star quarterback seems to have an affinity for Roma Dunze. I think all those things kind of point to if there is a guy traded, there's no fucking way it's Roma Dunze. It would be DJ Moore just to be responsible in team construction.
And remember, a year ago, I mean, we were all saying, even Kyle and these guys on the show were saying, like, you drafted the quarterback and the receiver together, and this is what every successful quarterback, like every Hall of Fame quarterback, kind of had that guy, the guy he grew with, the guy that he became comfortable with. And I can't tell you guys the numbers, but I'm sure every one of them wasn't phenomenal as a rookie or a second-year player, especially with injuries. So have some patience with Rome.
Yeah, regardless of your stance on DJ Moore, Roma Dunze is a receiver for the Chicago Bears who left it all out on the field for you this season, and he's only going to get better as far as I'm concerned.
And the first thing he did when the season ended was have a conversation with his receiver coach about what he needs to do better next season, man. I mean, that says to me, this is not just a guy who embraces failure, who accepts, like, oh, the drops, it's not on me. He's not an AJ Brown kind of guy. He's I want to do more to help this team win.
And he said he was disappointed with his performance this season.
That's all I've ever seen from Rome. It's just a winning mentality and a guy who holds himself accountable, the same as Caleb Williams.
So when you pair that with Ben Johnson and Antoine Randall L and Caleb Williams, I think the sky is the limit for Rome. Personally, we'll see where it falls. I love Roma Dunze, guys. I really do think he's a damn good player. I also love DJ Moore. Defend your players. They're all
a dude.
They are all our players, guys. All of these Bears players are our team, man. This is our team, and so it's just about what's going to put the best potential product on the field to make you the most competitive you can be, and that's all we're talking about. As far as
real quick, last note, I do want to remind the fans that tend to fall in love with players, and Dustin, I think it's fair to say you could agree. I just don't. I don't. I want.
There's not. Well, you are in love with Caleb Williams.
I want Caleb and Colston. to remain on this football team. I don't get attached to players personally because I do understand this is a business, but you did the same thing, guys, with Justin Fields, and you said, don't trade him, don't draft Caleb. And look where the Bears are. Sometimes guys change regardless of how much you love a player is the best direction forward. It just is. And it takes risk, it takes bold moves, and it takes what Ryan Poles described as tough
Foster,
decisions.
that stat can't be right. If you're talking about his target to catch rate, that's different than catch rate. Because like, is it a catchable ball? Like every target that doesn't go to him is not a drop, or like there's other things that play into that. Rome laid himself out for a lot of passes this year that really weren't that great from Caleb too, if you remember. So I don't know. And he asked, what do you think you could get for DJ Moore in terms of value, Brandon? I don't really know. He says a fourth rounder. I would think you can get a little more than that, a third,
A fourth rounder?
yeah, a second, or again, the Max Crosby thing makes a lot of sense to me. You're gonna have to throw some stuff in there, some picks to sweeten it up, but we'll see where it lands, guys. There's a lot. This offseason is going to be crazy. This is a hugely important offseason.
Well,
We talked about last offseason and how important it was. This one's huge.
That bothers me in itself. You just asked if DJ Moore's worth a fourth rounder. He's $100 million player. If he's not worth a fourth rounder,
then why the fuck did you pay him that?
This guy is a bigger problem than you even analyzed.
Yeah, and he is still only 28, but again, when you compare him to Rome, that's a 4-year difference in terms of age. Like, I just think, again, it makes too much sense the other way around in my mind, man. Brandon, the last thing I want to talk about from that game, I don't know if you have anything. I guess two things, because we talked about the fourth down stuff. I did think Ben got a little cute on some of those fourth and shorts where, like, there was one play where he moved Tooney to the right side. Tooney played left tackle the whole game. He moved Tooney to the right side, had Cole Kmet, Loveland, and Smythe on the left side, I believe, at least two tight ends to cover up for Tooney, and then ran it to the left side. Do you remember this play where they just got stuffed? Jared Verse put his face right in Kyle Monangai.
It was Monangai, yeah.
Yeah, he drove him back 5 yards.
Yeah, he got destroyed.
He did. The whole offensive line got destroyed because you moved your best offensive lineman to the right side and put him next to your other best offensive lineman, and then you didn't run behind them. I just wanted to make that comment. Watching that game back, that play in particular stood out to me as like, that's too cute for your own good. Like Joe Tooney, you need to run behind Joe Tooney and Darnell Wright if you're trying to get 1 yard. It's just about being more aggressive and having your players beat the players across from them. And I don't think you gave your team the best chance when you run to the weaker side of your line at that point. And I thought that was the worst play call of the game.
And it makes a broader point in regards to Ben Johnson, which I said this every week, guys. Every week, Dustin, you can confirm this. Every week since the Eagles.
Scottish, what up, brother? How you doing? Thanks for being
Scottish.
Here.
Every week since the Eagles game, I just kept saying, Ben's just going to depend on that offensive line again, like he did in the Eagles game. And it seemed like he lost trust. The passes went up, the runs came down. It was
in that game, Brandon, on Sunday, they ran it 32
times.
They did.
They ran a lot. But I mean, you know what I mean? Over the course of the season, we had a spell there where he just didn't let the guys up front bully the unit across from him. And Dustin, you had 2 all-pro players on the line. These guys are and you put the 2 all-pro players next to each other on that play.
And then ran to the opposite side. That just infuriated
How many teams in the NFL can put 2 all-pro offensive linemen next to each other and choose to run it away from them?
We're not going to run behind you.
Ben needs
Jonah Jackson and Darnell Wright were getting it done all night. The right side of the line is where this team's money is made. And then you put Tooney next to those guys and you run away from that. It just really blew my mind, man, that was what they did. It is.
It's like Ben, I don't want to say this, man, because he's our head coach. I don't have a lot of bad things to say about Ben Johnson, guys. I'm not going to do that on the show. I don't care how the Bears lost. Ben Johnson is the leading candidate for head coach of the year right now, by the way. They just showed that on NFL Network earlier. Oh, he's
not going to win coach of the year. Mike Vrabel is going to win coach of the year.
You think?
Yeah, I think so. But go ahead.
I think McDonald will, but
it's another good option.
Yeah, you've got to just sometimes and we watched this in Detroit too, Dustin. And I asked you when we acquired Ben Johnson,
When you run a
does it
reverse
concern you the way
wide
the
receiver
Lions'
pass,
seasons
yeah.
ended? Does that concern you? Because sometimes
When you
Ben
go
just
away
doesn't
from
see.
Jameer Gibbs when he's
Yeah,
dominating a
sometimes Ben
game,
doesn't see
yeah.
what's right in front of him. It's just right there in front of him, and it's so fucking obvious. And I think that he feels like he has to deceive and disguise things, and it's like sometimes, man, you just gotta punch somebody in the face. And with
Yeah, no,
with two All-Pro players on your line,
just keep it simple.
what did we
Yeah.
continuously call the strongest unit on this football team, week in and week out? I thought the offensive line was the best unit on this football team, and sometimes you just gotta remember when he said to those guys,
They
just
played
when
some dogs on Sunday,
remember
Brandon. That
remember
defensive line for the Rams is very, very good.
remember
Very
he
good.
remember he told Caleb one game, tell those guys up front to just go win this. Remember that? I don't remember what
Yep.
game was that.
Yep. I do
But
remember what you're
he
talking about.
in the mic, he told Caleb, tell those guys
It
in the
might have
huddle.
been the Vikings game, the
Yeah,
second Vikings game.
yeah, I think it was. He told Caleb in the huddle, tell those big guys up front to go win this game. Why aren't you doing that every fucking week? I don't understand, man.
I mean, they ended up being one of the most running teams in the league. They ended up having the third most rushing yards in the league. I think he stayed true to that, and he's very good situationally usually. And Foster brings up that there wasn't enough motion before the runs, like as what they've done in previous games. And he says they got stuffed on the right side too. And yes, I'm just talking about that particular play because in my mind, it's like if you're going to overload that side with your best offensive lineman, just go. If you lose it on that, so be it. If you get stuffed, so be it. Don't run away from your best offensive lineman in such a critical point
From
in the
two All
game.
Pros, guys.
It's like that's just trying to be too cute. You're thinking like, okay, so they're going to overload that side because I'm putting my strength on that side, and then I'll just have a nice, easy back door here. But they didn't fall for it, and they beat you to the spot on that play. And it's just like I'd rather lose behind my best guys on that play.
Yeah, if you even
That's all
think
I'm
for a
saying.
minute, they're going to go over
It's
there
too cute.
because if you're thinking for a minute, the defense is going to load up over
They're
there.
very
Because
good on that defensive
they're going
line.
to load up on the right because that's where I got my strength. Well, then go there, man. If that's where your strength, as far as you're concerned, if that's where your strength is, and that's why the defense is going to line up the way they do, go with the strength, man.
Yep. And live or die by that. And just live or die
Yeah.
by that. If you get beat there, so be it.
And trust a guy who's done it before. Joe Tooney's been in these positions.
Yeah.
He's been in the biggest moments of fucking NFL seasons,
And
man.
Joe
This guy-
Tooney switched to left tackle in that game and played his ass off and really held up well. And so did McFadden when he stepped in. So, like, I was very proud of the effort that offensive line gave. It just seemed like in big moments when it was like, it just came down to what you said. Out violent, out physical, out aggress the people across from you and just kick their ass. The Rams kicked the Bears' ass. The Bears did not, the players did not win those battles enough in those moments. But I would have just trusted my guys in that moment, in that particular one where you move Tooney over. I'm just going to run behind that and let the cards fall where they're made because I trust those guys over there.
And you asked me if there's anything else I wanted to say about this game, and I do want to say one more thing. I didn't really take my time to appreciate this. And I will admit, guys, that after that Niners game, I was wondering if Dennis Allen is who we believe him to be. Dennis Allen kicked the shit out of Sean McVay the entire night.
Yeah, Dennis Allen has deserved flowers all year, man. What he's done with that defense
was much worse, without a doubt. Like he made Sean McVay look silly, and his players were not anywhere near as talented as the unit across from him. So
he made them look silly, Brandon, and him and Stafford until he didn't. You know, there was a big chest.
The overtime was bad.
The overtime in one play in particular.
Forgetting about the overtime.
The one play in particular where they had shown blitz with Kyler Gordon and dropped back throughout the game, and they had shown blitz with Kyler Gordon, and then he came and it worked to their benefit. Kyler Gordon got an easy sack because of that, because Stafford expected him to drop back, right? But then in overtime, on a crucial play where the Rams needed a first down, Kyler Gordon showing blitz, and Puka Nacua is lined up right next to him. He's right over Puka Nacua, and I'm thinking, God, I hope he fucking drops back into coverage. Do not blitz. And of course, he blitzed in that moment, and Dennis Allen got caught because Stafford recognized it, and he hit Puka Nacua right there for a quick first down. And that is the play in overtime that broke the Bears back. So yeah, Dennis Allen did a great fucking job calling that defense. And honestly, that defense looked like a defense that can compete with anybody in that game. And that's the first time they looked like that all year. That's why I had high hopes, because like if they go to the next round, they can beat the Seahawks with the defense playing like this. But that play, he got out coached in that spot by Matt Stafford and Sean McVay. And that's where it was on the line the most.
Before we talk about what he did wrong, though, like,
I'm not trying to just talk about it, I'm just pointing that out.
Is that a coincidence to you that the guy who seemed to be most prepared was the guy who's probably got the most experience?
No, it was a big advantage for the Bears, and it was really like Dennis Allen and McVay trading punches. It was like a heavyweight prize fight.
Yeah, two guys who have been there and done that.
Okay, yeah, exactly. And Dennis Allen came out on the wrong side of it when it was all said and done. But yes,
yeah, and that handshake was weird. Did you see that?
No, Sean McVay told him, "You kicked our ass all game," and
Dennis Allen gave him a look like, "You bitch."
Listen, man, and Sean McVay has had the upper hand. Sean McVay has
got tall and looked down on him, and I was like, man, he's upset. Dennis Allen's upset about this one.
McVay's had the upper hand against Dennis Allen for their whole careers every time they go head to head. I think it's now 7-1 against the Dennis Allen defense after that game. But I mean, Dennis Allen deserves his flowers for what he did for this defense all season, getting guys to step up, and completely decimated by injuries all year. And they did enough to get to the playoffs, man. And you don't have half the players that, and on top of that, just the players that you had, how many of them actually fit your system? You're taking over a previous system that's really nothing like yours. So like the magic that he worked with, that he deserves a lot of credit. And no game is it shown more than in that game on Sunday, Brandon, because that defense came to play. They shut down the best offense in the league for most of that game. I was super fucking impressed by the game plan that Dennis Allen had, by the way the players executed it. It's just when it came down to that one play that was going to kind of decide the game, those couple of plays that were really going to make the difference, Dennis Allen got. He did.
And I want to say
Stafford and McVay got him.
A lot of fans talk about, when you hire a new defensive coordinator, the switch from a 4-3 to a 3-4 and how big of an impact that makes on a coach who doesn't have the tools to run it. It's the same, guys, when you're going from zone to man. It's the same fucking problem.
That's a good point, Foster.
It is, because like when you go from a 4-3 to a 3-4, you're changing the dynamic of your defensive line. When you go from man to zone or zone to man, you're
changing the dynamic of your
players on secondary are very different players. You just changed every single. You might have just made the All-Pro Jalen Johnson a very different player, because you are changing everything these guys have done well in their career. And I appreciate Dennis Allen's aggressive approach. I like press. I like all that stuff. I like the quarters. But you might not have the guys to do it. That is a possibility. And Dustin, I would say after this season, we could fairly say we don't have enough.
No, and that's going to be obviously their biggest focus in the offseason. We'll talk about that a little bit as we wrap up this show, man. The last thing that I don't think we talked about enough on Monday, man, it was obviously, to me, the biggest and best point of the game. It's something you're going to see for years and years to come, replayed by NFL films, man. That play by Caleb Williams, immediate fourth down again. You don't make the play, the game is over. Immediate pressure in your face. He runs back 25 yards.
To
the 40 from the 14. So about 25 yards. To make a 14-yard pass, he has 40 air yards, and just turns around and has guys in his face. He's able to set himself up on enough of a platform to toss a fucking laser to Cole Kmet in the corner of the end zone. That was really a perfect pass, man. And it's just like there was this thing going around on X of like the players' reactions on the sideline, and Grady Jarrett was just like, "What the fuck?" And it was funny because that was my exact same reaction when that happened. Like I fell on the ground screaming, "What the fuck did that just happen?" And Caleb has done that week after week, and he seems to keep outdoing himself, man. And like just the feeling you get watching the replay of that, watching that in real time, like it's amazing to think that we're gonna have that guy who does those things on our team for the foreseeable future, dude. God damn, I don't know what to even say about it.
If we
Just
start the
one of the
Caleb
best plays I've ever
conversation, we're
seen.
going a whole different route. But I want listen for all you Packers fans, Lions fans, Vikings fans.
Dart.
There's a reason that
Me too,
people
Jed. Me too.
there's a reason why people who play this game, who've done it their whole life, who coach it, who've
Imagine how boring
previously
that
played
would
it.
have been.
You have all these players on the sidelines, all these players on Twitter, all these coaches, all these guys who have talked about the plays, those throws like the one you just mentioned. They're in awe. They've never
Mhm.
seen it. They don't believe it. They don't actually
Shouldn't have been
just the
possible.
same as us. You watch it happen and you know that it happened, right? You embrace that you're celebratory, but in the same mindset, you're like, did that happen? Did he actually? And you know what really impresses me, Dustin, that we don't talk about a lot either. We didn't talk about it all on Monday. Caleb is getting really good, which can be very lethal at throwing people open. Because Cole Kmet, if you watch that play, when Caleb flushes, Cole Kmet actually thinks for a split second Caleb's gonna run. And the first thing he does, which was interpreted as a push off, which is bullshit, and the refs knew it. The first thing he does is turns around and blocks the defender. He actually puts two hands on the defender and blocks him as if Caleb's going to be running behind him. And then he glances back and sees the ball in the air and he lets go, separates, and catches the ball. And that's why people perceive that as a bit of a push off. But
They were both
Caleb,
hand fighting.
Caleb saw him. Caleb saw him engaged. You said Caleb turned around and threw the ball.
The
He didn't
fact
have
that he
much.
saw him in
Yes.
that split second,
And
Brandon,
he
is
knew
crazy.
I can throw to a listen. And I had a fight with a guy on Facebook about this. A guy who said, "You remember the Roman Dunze fourth down against the Packers?"
Yeah, of course. How
There
could
was
I
a fan.
forget?
There was a fan who was claiming that ball was supposed to go to Bird and it was overthrown. And I said no. And I said to him, I said to this guy, Caleb wasn't throwing that
Fucking
ball
Packers fans.
to any player. He was throwing that ball to a spot. It was a
Mhm.
spot throw, and it was the
And
same thing
yep,
with Cole Kmet. You go get it, dude. I'm gonna give you a chance to make a play on this fucking football. Go get it. And that awareness is something we talk about the completion percentage and the progression in Caleb and the things we still like to see. Guys, throwing receivers open is a mark of some of the best quarterbacks that ever fucking played this game.
yeah, and
You
then
saw
to
Tom
do it
Brady. Remember Tom Brady pointing to his receivers like go this way. This is things that good players do.
and
Legendary
Brandon,
players do
to do it in the way that Caleb does it
in
under
a
such
split second.
duress with no real platform underneath him off of any platform possible you could think of, that's just an advantage for an offense that not many other teams have. That's gonna the point continues to be made that he does the hard shit so fucking well. It's like, imagine when the easy shit, the easier stuff to coach gets cleaned up, what Caleb's going to turn into. You made a point though that was really good, and like I just want to jump on that a little bit more because like when you think about the fact that Caleb is making plays that make the best athletes in the world go, did that really
What
just
the
fucking happen? When
You see the tweets
our
from
quarterback
Mahomes
Brandon,
put laughing emojis.
when our quarterback, the Chicago Bears quarterback, think about the quarterbacks the Bears have had. Just
Yeah,
fucking think about
let's
that for
go
a
through
second,
that
Judah.
list.
Think about
We'll
it.
be
Let's
here for the
not. I
next
don't want
hour.
to. Just think about it for a second and try not to pass out. But think about that and then say our quarterback is making plays so fucking miraculous and ridiculously skilled and insane and awe-inspiring that the best athletes in the world, the guys that are paid to stop him, the guys that are paid to make those plays, are like, how the fuck did he just make that play?
Yeah,
That's the
Mahomes
quarterback
posted
the Chicago
laughing
Bears
emojis.
have.
You know why he posted laughing emojis? Because it's so ridiculous. It's comical. It's
Mhm.
so good that you can't
Yeah,
help but just
yeah.
laugh
I
because
laughed. I laughed in the
because
moment. I
because it's
just,
like
yeah.
what do you because you're as a Bears fan and the guys on your side, Caleb, it's like what does the defense do against that? What does the Rams defense do better to defend that play? You
Get them on
breathing
the
down this
ground.
guy's throat.
Yeah,
You got him
yeah.
running on his heels. He's 25 yards behind the play, and he still puts a fucking dime on one of his biggest targets. It's just it's funny because it's true. Honestly, Dustin, that's why it's funny, because it happened. Because it takes you a split second to accept the fact that you watched what you just watched, and there is no player in the NFL to me that's like that. And I think actually you can, and people will argue with this. I'm sure you will as well. I think
Yeah,
Caleb could have.
Foster.
I think Caleb
They
could have been in
lost.
the.
Yes,
I
they
think
will.
Caleb could have been in the MVP conversation this year. I don't give a fuck about his
I
completion
think
percentage.
he
I
was
don't
to an
care.
extent. I think you might see him in like that top 7 if they release the full voting. I mean, maybe top 5, maybe he'll be 5th. I mean, like he made a huge impact on this team getting to where they are, and that's why it makes things that Judah says in this chat
And
just
when
so
the game was on the
ridiculous.
line,
To be
he
honest,
showed up.
yeah, there's something to be said for that clutch aspect. I mean, at the end of the day, Judah, the Bears aren't where they are without Caleb Williams, man. You just kind of have to accept that. And I know you're not going to. I'm wasting
Well,
my breath talking
and
about it. But
it's funny
Caleb,
that.
go ahead, Brandon. No,
No,
go ahead.
finish.
No, I don't want to. Go.
It's funny that you probably have the greatest example of this in this city with your former quarterback. The 3-quarter problem that is Caleb Williams, Dustin, that is this Bears offense. Like, you had a guy, the quarterback before this could play 3 really good quarters of football and throw 4 touchdowns and 300 yards and then fumble the game away. And do you want a guy like that? Or do you want a guy who, when the game is on the line and the pressure is at its highest, just doesn't seem to be fucking phased at all?
Yeah, I mean, Caleb had 3 turnovers in that game. That's just something that can't be debated. He had 5 turnovers total in his 2 playoff games. That is something that can't be debated. But it also can't be debated that his touchdowns won us games. His legs won us games. I wished he would have used his legs more in that game because I thought that was the advantage that we had, and it showed. And I was right in terms of how that would impact the game. He just didn't do it enough, as far as I'm concerned. But that's a different story for a different day. Caleb presents such a problem for any defense he goes up against that it makes it unfathomable to me that there are still people out there that would say put in Tyson Bagent. I mean, you just you show your ass when you say shit like that, Judah. You just do. I've been watching the chat. I've not been really engaging too much, but like we know who you are and we know what it's about to you. And Caleb will continue to prove you wrong, man. And at some point, you either got to accept it or move on to something else. Go root for whatever team Tyson Bagent ends up on if he ever starts in the NFL. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like Ben Johnson has identified in Caleb Williams the miraculous stuff, the abilities, the talent, the raw arm talent that you can turn into the best quarterback in the league with coaching. Caleb has cleaned up a ridiculous amount of things just in one season under Ben Johnson, and it's only going to get better. Appreciate what you do see, because Caleb Williams just gave you one of the most exciting seasons you're ever going to see as a Bears fan, and Ben Johnson helped him do that, and I feel like it's only going to get better. This is a guy, as Brandon said, that you can count on in the clutch to come through. He will make the play when it matters most, and that counts for more than a lot of other stuff that you might be looking for in a quarterback. It just does. And that showed in the fact that the Bears won 11 games, won a playoff game, and they were right there with it. Guys, we've talked about the Ben Johnson not taking the points earlier. We went into all that. Ben Johnson is who he is, and he's going to continue to be that. I don't think that that's changing next year. I think Ben Johnson will be who he is. And we talked about the DJ Moore thing. He bailed out on that route, and he bailed out on his quarterback in that situation. That's just the reality. Caleb trusted him to make a play. He didn't come through. It is what it is. Sometimes that doesn't happen.
And Judah, do you believe that if Caleb wasn't the quarterback of this football team, they'd have won more games? Do you believe that firmly?
He's going to answer yes, man.
Do you think Bagent gets rushed on that play against the Rams and doesn't just fold and throw a fucking pick? And then I have to ask you, I'm going to make a request with you, Judah Tribe. Do me a favor. We love you here, but show up to this show, be in our chat when things are going good. Because we know, Dustin pointed out last week, or earlier this week, there's a big gap of Judah Tribe.
Of when we heard from Judah Tribe, yes.
It was after first 2 losses.
Yeah.
Caleb played some bad football after the first 2 losses, and then You were all over it. Then for like a fucking 10-week stretch, we didn't see you. And
It was
then
longer
Caleb
than
goes
that.
out. Caleb throws a pick in overtime in the playoffs, and you're back. And I want to
Just
say
be
this to you, man.
consistent. Keep the
If
energy.
if
That's
you're
all
if
for
you're
sure.
going to disappear when Caleb's playing good football, we're never going to see you again. So keep showing
Very
up.
well put. Foster, I understand that they lost, but that play is going to live on. It doesn't, that play will be replayed for years and years and years because it was a fucking unbelievable play. And it's okay to appreciate that for what it was. It's okay to appreciate this Bears season for what it was. They treated us to one of the most fun seasons you could have as a fan this year. They left us on the edge of our seats. They came through more often than they didn't in those situations. And, it's okay. It's okay that they lost because none of us expected them to even be in that position. Yeah, you can look at that game and say they really should be on to the next round. They really could have been if they had just done a few things differently. But Caleb is who he is. Ben Johnson is who he is. And I think that that's more than fucking good enough, man. And that play will live on in NFL history as one of the greatest throws ever made in a playoff game. And our quarterback did that for the Chicago Bears, a team that has been in quarterback hell basically as long as I've been fucking live. So, like, yeah, I'm gonna appreciate it. So ultimately, Caleb's unbelievable play was not just a 14-yard gain. It was Caleb saying to everyone in the league, I'm fucking here, and the Chicago Bears are here, and we can do things like this.
And Tom Brady, the greatest.
Ain't nobody ever fucking blocked you, Judah. Don't even say that shit. We have never blocked anyone. Anyone, Judah. Don't say that shit. You a fucking lie.
Tom Brady, the greatest player of all time, called the pass from Caleb to DJ in the Packers overtime the best throw of the season. I would think that guy.
He just continually gets. Yeah, and what's funny is Caleb will have the best throw of the season, and then next week he outdoes it.
I know. Somebody told me.
Insane.
Somebody posted. I shared the Komet play on Facebook, and somebody said to me that was the best throw of Caleb's career, and I said, "Well, yeah, since the last throw of Caleb's career." Like
exactly,
it's
the
last
best throw of Caleb's career.
And then the guy said, it was a good exchange. The guy said to me, and the best throw he throws moving forward will be the next throw of his career, because that's just how this guy operates, man. Every week, you're just amazed at what you're watching, and if you're not, Judah, you don't even want the Bears to win.
Yeah, you're just depriving yourself of an
You're allowing
enjoyment
your
that
Caleb
I just feel
hate.
sorry for you.
You're allowing your Caleb hate to outweigh the fact that you root for the Bears. It's like people who hate Trump so much they don't root for America. It's a pretty comparable thing, man. Like, root for your quarterback because that's the guy who's playing football for your football team. So whether or not Caleb does good or bad is going to decide how the Bears season goes. So root for him. Root for good. Don't cut the guy down. Don't talk about his painted nails. Don't feed me any of that bullshit. Just root for this guy to be the best player he can be.
Yeah, like I said,
and Judah, Tyson Bagent ain't playing any football anytime soon. Just move on.
No,
from that,
not on this team, and probably not on any team in the NFL.
Move on from that.
But like, you're just depriving yourself of an enjoyment that is just really impossible to describe. That's listen, Windy City Productions, they put out an awesome. I'm not gonna play it because it's not my shit, and it's got like a song on there. It's got the end of the beginning song.
That's very much copywritten, guys.
But the way that there's a whole full season highlights. I think they missed a couple things, but that's okay. It just kind of in a 2.5 minute clip. If you haven't seen it, go check out that highlight reel from Windy City Productions of the Bears 2025 season. And just, I almost wanted to cry watching it, man, because it's like what this team gave us this year was everything they had. What this team gave us this year was an awesome experience that we could share with each other. We could share, me and you talking here, Brandon, share in our living rooms or at Soldier Field with other fans that are like-minded and just want to see this team win because it's been so many years of mediocrity. And you just got to appreciate it. And if you're not appreciating that, like, what is the purpose of being a fan? Like, why are you here for this? Like, if you're just going to deprive yourself of the joy that comes with being a fan. You should really enjoy the season, guys. We should really appreciate it because they gave us something special this year and they left it all out there for us. And I'm very happy with that because I haven't seen a lot of that in my years watching the Chicago Bears. And Foster, I know you've watched them a lot longer, and I know you've seen teams come and go, but to me, this feels different. I have uber confidence in Ben Johnson. I have uber confidence in Caleb Williams, and I think the future is bright with this team. It don't mean every year you're competing for a Super Bowl, but maybe it does. Who knows? Hopefully it will. But one thing I do know is this was a fucking hell of a ride, the best roller coaster ride you can go on as a fan, and I enjoyed the shit out of it, and I hope y'all did too. And we've been glad here at 4 Stars Chicago Sports to be able to share it with everybody, man, because it's just been a fucking blast. Go watch that highlight video, guys, if you haven't watched it. Amazing.
Sharing it is what's most, and like you watch these videos on social media of bars filled with Bears fans when Caleb's throwing a touchdown to Cole Kmet. What are you doing, Judah? You sulking in the corner? Are you like, I still believe this guy's not the guy? Like, what? I don't understand. Like, do you?
That's not for us to understand, Brandon. It's not for us to understand. And he ain't going to help us understand.
Don't you celebrate in this guy's victories? Or are you
like I said,
rooting for him to fail? I don't get it.
Well, listen,
guys, Caleb Williams will be in MVP talks next season.
I believe that to be true. Yeah, I believe that to be true, Brandon. I think you see quarterbacks take a big leap in years 3 and 4, and Caleb is coming right into that at the perfect time with the perfect coach to work with it and a perfect offense for him that is built around him. Caleb is just going to get better. That's just the reality. And if you don't like that, then you can't call yourself a Chicago Bears fan. You just can't. That's just what it comes down to, because he's the guy that's going to lead you where you want to go. Foster, we're going to have turnover. There's going to be things that the Bears do where they keep certain guys. They're going to have to go get other guys. The one thing I do know is I trust this front office. I trust this head coaching staff to identify the right guys. I trust Ben Johnson to identify the right coaches to replace coaches that might be gone after such a successful and fun year. Like, I really feel good about how the infrastructure of this team has been set up for the first time in a long time in terms of the right decisions are going to get made to impact winning continually.
Yeah, and if it makes you feel any better, guys, there's 27 free agents on this football team. I do want to say this. Ben Johnson is in command of this football team now. He's been here for 1 year. You had one draft. In that draft, you produced Ozzie Chapello.
Brandon, I got the perfect thing to go with what you're talking about right now.
Colston Loveland, Luther Burden, Kyle Monangai. So when you lose these 27 free agents, have some faith that this head coach of your football team is going to continue to get you talent, because after one draft, especially on the offensive side of the football, we can talk about the defense because that wasn't Ben. On the offensive side of the football, he's very good at seeing talent. I would make that claim because, Dan Bernstein was a big hater of Kyle Monangai before he ever played a snap, and which is funny to me because, like, Dustin, when you're approaching a season,
now we're talking about Dan Bernstein. Jesus.
Well, when you're approaching a season, what are you expecting from your 7th round pick? I don't know how people like.
Brandon, you know that I expected an awful lot from Kyle Monangai.
Well, yeah,
you
but
know that,
like
yes.
in the average NFL head coach and GM is probably expecting this is a guy that fights for a roster spot. Maybe we put him on the practice squad because he impresses in the preseason. Kyle Monangai was an impact player and winning football games on your team. He was your 7th round pick.
He's a big part of this right here. Listen, it's PFF. Take it with a grain of salt. But when you talk about grading rookie classes this year, look where the Bears are in terms of weighted PFF grades, snap weighted PFF grades. Bears 74.8 grade. The next highest is 67.4. That was the Carolina Panthers. The Lions right behind them. The Saints right there too. But in terms of rookies that impacted winning, that played well in their rookie season, no one is close to the Bears. So what that tells you is that the Bears, the current people making decisions, have a knack for identifying the talent. have a knack for putting that talent in a position to succeed with the coaching and the development and the play calling and those things, and utilizing their strengths to impact winning on the football field. So what you see right here is the best draft the Bears have had in some time, right here in front of you. And the same guys who did that draft, who executed that draft, are going to be drafting again this year, and they got plenty of picks to be able to add some more really good talent to this team. Let's not forget about that. Let's not.
And believe, no matter who you're losing with your 27 free agents, Ben will find a way to replace it with somebody better. That's what he proved.
Or maybe not better, like a better player, but maybe
look at them 27
better
free agents, man. He will.
Brandon, maybe not a better player, but maybe better for the system. Maybe better. Maybe Ben Johnson can get something better out of them. Maybe Dennis Allen can get something better out of them. What I know this team can do, what these coaches and this GM can do, is identify what they need in a role, because you saw them do it with Kyle Monungai. You saw them do it with Ozzie Trapillo. You saw them do it with Luther Burden, though that was a slow burn, as we expected. You saw him do it with Colston Loveland. Colston Loveland was not the number 1 ranked tight end in this draft, but he was the first one taken by Ben Johnson, because he knew, when I plug this guy into my offense, this is what he's going to be able to create. So I know that these coaches can identify that, and then they can do the work the right way with them in OTAs and training camp and preseason and the regular season, to have them ready to compete when their number is called and contribute to winning games on the football field. When's the last time you can say rookies have impacted winning so much for a Chicago Bears team? It just hasn't happened in much in our lifetime, Brandon. It hasn't. This coaching staff is legit, and they know what they're doing when it comes to this shit.
I feel pretty damn good.
It's important to remember.
The more Ben Johnson this roster is, the better it'll be. Right?
Yes.
The more of a thumbprint that Ben puts on this roster, the better this roster is going to be.
And his coaching staff, yes. Yes. And C. Cole says, I want you guys' thoughts on Monungai. I fucking love Kyle Monungai. I love the way Ben Johnson used him in tandem with DeAndre Swift, really getting the most out of DeAndre Swift. We made this point a lot of times, because he took on a lot of the runs that you want to save DeAndre Swift from, so he can be good for when he needs to break that big one. He can be fresh. Kyle Monungai runs like a little fucking demon bowling ball, man. I love Kyle Monungai. I know he will continue to be a big part of this running game moving forward, and he's only going to get better. That's the reality.
And when you're looking at a 7th round pick, you're really questioning, because the skill set is what it is. Kyle Monungai is not a special player physically. He's not going to break a big. He's not a fast guy. He's not a burner. He's not very elusive, but
he just does all the right things.
For a 7th round pick,
he just does all the right things.
You just want effort.
He's smart.
You want effort, and you want a guy who wants to learn. And Kyle Monungai was reported in the offseason to be the guy who's standing front and center with a notepad and a pen. I mean, this dude has been a sponge since he's been drafted, and he did as much as he could with Eric Bieniemy before Eric Bieniemy was given a promotion. So I have no doubt that Kyle Monungai, no matter who the running backs coach is going to just improve. Like you said, he's going to be a better football player than he was last year.
100%. Couple things. First thing, I'll go to this one because he's responding. He says, I like Monungai. Cole's responding. I like Monungai, but I think we need something better than Swift. I can't remember the last time Swift just broke one to the house. Well, he broke a pretty important one to the house in that Washington Commanders game that helped them win that game. He had his best game of the season against the Cleveland Browns, where he looked the best that he's looked as a Chicago Bear. He had his best season overall as a pro. DeAndre Swift is a part of this team. He was a top 10 running back in terms of production and performance this season, Cole. So, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater with this one, because DeAndre Swift is going to be a big part of this offense. I expected him to be a big part of this offense going into this season, and that's exactly how it played out. And I think he's another guy that will get better. But yes, Brandon, when you talk about losing Bieniemy, that sucks, because I really do believe he had a big hand in both of these guys taking huge strides this year.
Yeah, there's like a bunch.
Bear down, Judah.
I tried to
We'll talk to you soon, man. Appreciate you.
Bear down, Judah. There's a bunch of like Matt Forte rumors.
Yeah, but he catches the ball really well, man. That's one of the best things about him is that he's a dual threat guy out of the backfield, and that's why Monungai really helps him, because he keeps him fresh for those types of things.
Well, yeah. Don't lose sight, Cole. Like the pass receiver was the reason DeAndre Swift's in the NFL. That's his forte. No pun intended. Like he's a pass catcher. That's what he is. He's a dual threat running back who just happened under the tutelage of Eric Bieniemy to become a better running back. The only thing we question about DeAndre Swift before the season started is like, can he be a running back? Like the
Can
guy's
he hit the
really
holes fast
yeah,
enough with enough intention, with the
or does he have
vision to
enough
pick the right
patience to
spot?
do so?
Yeah.
And like, he's a catcher. He's a pass catcher. He just ran the best he ever has. He looked to me. I don't think that like DeAndre Swift's pass catching ability improved all that much this year. I think he's always been good. I thought his running back abilities
He improved as a running back 100%.
like tremendously.
Yep, he did.
Yeah. And I don't think you lose that. I don't think because Bieniemy's gone, you just lose the development.
No, I think that stays with him, and I don't think you lose DeAndre Swift. I think you want to hold on to him for at least one more season to see what he can give you. If you need
I don't want to spend a high pick on a running back, man.
Let's talk about that real quick. Because Scottish says Ben Johnson will be looking for his dual threat running back who can house it from anywhere. I agree that what that can bring to an offense is huge, and I think DeAndre Swift has that ability in spurts. And when you talk about having the third best running game in the NFL in terms of yardage and production with those guys that you have now, I don't want to reinvent the wheel with that this offseason. And when you talk about how much it's going to be needed on the defensive side, especially when you can't re-sign certain guys and bring them back, this draft really needs to focus on defense. I do not want to spend high draft capital on a running back when my running game has been as solid and fucking really good as it has been with the two guys you currently have under contract. That's my position. Doesn't mean it's the right one, but that's the way I would approach it.
And the result is pretty obvious here, Dustin. I mean, you've drafted offensive.
I think Swift is better than Breece Hall. Swift is better than Breece Hall. I'll say that right now.
Your first round picks for the last 4 years have been spent on offense.
You gotta attack the defense.
The result of that is very apparent. You are missing talent on defense. Your offense is loaded. You've got Darnell Wright now, Rome Odunze, Caleb Williams, Colston.
That being said, you got one of the most expensive defenses in the NFL too.
Yeah, it's time to flip that with young talent that's cheap and actually does their job.
I agree, Brian.
It's time this draft. I want my defense next year to be as young as possible because I believe that Dennis Allen will make these players better, even the young guys, like he did Shamar Turner when he played as little as he did. But it's got to be, you got to focus on the defense, guys.
I've been watching him since college too, Cole, and there's a reason he's going to be kept this year. He was a top 10 running back in terms of production this year. That's just the reality. And there's no need to go spend big money or big capital when you have that guy in tow. To me, we'll see what happens. I believe Scottish has a point there in terms of that guy. But do I believe Breece Hall is that guy over Swift? No. If you're talking about Breece Hall, no. I'm not interested. I'd rather just keep Swift with the money we got. Brandon, I want to get into the news about the coaches that we have on our staff that were on our staff. Well, Bieniemy has now accepted the job with Kansas City. That's a done deal. He is gone. Sorry, Matt Nagy. Get the fuck out of here with that. But the one that I wanted to talk about, the two that I really want to talk about, Al Harris interviewing in Green Bay, and there's a lot of talk about him going to Washington to interview as well because of his experience with Dan Quinn already. He's going to get a defensive coordinator job. Declan Doyle, the Philadelphia Eagles requested to interview him. Our offensive coordinator who doesn't call plays. So like there's the potential for him to get a job where he can go somewhere and be the play caller, be the guy. If he wants to do that, I think Ben Johnson will let him do that because Ben just doesn't seem like the guy that would hold people back. But my thought is the Bears, if he's smart, he'll stay with Ben Johnson and learn more under him and continue to grow his resume across the NFL to where he becomes the hottest thing since sliced bread in the NFL. Ben Johnson did that in Detroit. He could have had a head coaching job a year earlier. He waited. He picked his spot. He found the perfect situation for himself, and he only made himself more desirable. I think that's really the approach Declan Doyle should take. I am hopeful that it comes to a point where the Bears are blocking these things because Declan Doyle doesn't want to take the interviews because he's happy where he is and understands it's the best possible position for him to be in. That's my take on it, Brandon. What are your thoughts on Declan Doyle and if he wants to be that guy and if he's going to jump maybe a little too early? I think he might jump a little too early if he were to take that job. But I think if he wanted to take it, I don't think Ben Johnson would stop. I don't think the Bears will block it.
Well, yeah, you said two things to me earlier in the text that I thought hit the nail on the head, man. First off, the projection of Declan's career is probably better here in Chicago. And second, I wouldn't want to work for that guy, man. I texted you.
I
Of
agree,
course, you take the
Scott.
job. Of course, you take the job, and you said, "I don't know if you do take the job." It's not just
No.
about remaining with the Bears and the the tutelage of Ben Johnson. It's about fuck that guy. I wouldn't work for that.
Okay,
guy.
let's not. Fuck Nick Sirianni. I think he's a very weird dude. I think he clearly lost
And
his
he
team,
pisses a lot of people off.
a lot of his own players. And we can clearly, I think we could say right now at this point, given how the 49ers performed against the Seattle Seahawks, shame on the Eagles for the effort that they put on the field the week prior when they lost to the Niners at home, the defending Super Bowl champions. That's not talked about enough. You're defending your title, and that's the effort you put up against the fucking MASH unit that the Niners were putting on the field that got destroyed by the Seahawks. There's something clearly wrong with Nick Sirianni in that locker room. And I think going into that, he's looking for someone to save him with his offensive coordinator hire. He really is. And Declan Doyle will be thrown under a bus when he doesn't. So, yeah, in that particular situation, it's a toxic, bad place for Declan Doyle to go. And I think he will identify that, and he's not going to take that job. That's what I personally think. But I'm just talking, let's just keep it general about offensive coordinator position where you have the chance to call plays. If you're Declan Doyle, do you bide your time? Because Scottish said, I think it's far too early for Declan Doyle, youngest offensive coordinator ever hired. I agree with Scottish 100%. He would be very smart to stick with Ben Johnson, continue to learn and grow his resume. Do you think that you just take the job because there's only so many of them and you get to call plays, you get to be the guy? Or do you think it's smarter to stick with Ben and bide your time a little bit, grow yourself within this league?
I think it's smarter to stick with Ben, but I don't think that Declan Doyle's wasting people's time. I think that if he's being offered a job and he's going to go interview for it, that he wants it.
So do you think that you would want it if you were Declan Doyle, I guess is my question. What do you think?
I would not want the Eagles job. No, I do.
Again, let's just keep it general about offensive coordinator for X team, like just the opportunity to call plays, whether it's the Eagles, whether it's the Titans.
Declan Doyle, I can't tell you who cares what I want? Declan Doyle is going to take the job.
I disagree, man. That's why this is interesting. Real quick, C. Cole, he is not a top 10 running back in terms of pay. He's number 16, I believe. So that's not accurate. But I hear you. I understand that people want more out of the running back position. I just don't think you spend. I made my point clear on that. But he's not a top 10 in terms of pay. DeAndre Swift is not. But I just think, man, if you're Declan Doyle and you're this young and you're a part of something so special right now with this team and a guy that's really turning himself into one of the best head coaches in the NFL in short order, and a guy that, like you brought up, he could turn over the play calling because it's been pointed out time and again, it's tough to manage a game and also manage the play calling. Guys do it and it works really well. Sean McVay won a Super Bowl doing it. But like maybe Declan Doyle gets more involved in that play calling aspect as he grows his experience here with the Bears. And I just think if he attaches himself to Ben Johnson and gets more of that offensive success under his belt in that role, he's only going to become more desirable being with Ben Johnson. His flame's not going to die out. It's just going to keep growing. So don't jump on the first thing that comes to you and say, well, I get to call plays, because you're going to end up in a spot where more than likely your offense ain't going to be very successful very early on. And you might be the guy that gets thrown under the bus as a fucking scapegoat by a guy like Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, you might go back to being a tight ends coach.
Exactly. So it's like, don't jump too early, man. Like, you got a good thing going here. If I'm Declan Doyle, I'm going to hang around. I don't think he's going to take a play calling job this year. But I also don't believe that the Bears and Ben Johnson will block it if that's what he wants to do. I think he'll be making a grave mistake if he does it, but the Bears will let him do it. Ben Johnson's not going to hold him back. That's what I believe. Ben Johnson will try to tell him what I'm saying. I believe that. Ben Johnson will say to him, you're in a good spot here and I can help you just get better and you will only become more desirable, but you can do what you want to do. I am not going to hold you back.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Ben's going to lock it down. Like, we both know he has the ability to say, I'm blocking the interview. I don't think he didn't.
Uh-huh.
He
Because it's
did
a
the interview
lateral
already.
move.
Yeah, he already did the interview. The interview's complete. So I saw that today.
Exactly, Cole.
So yeah, Ben is not going to impede on the progress of Declan's career, but I think that he for sure should tell him, like, the progress of your career
What's up, Scrolls?
might be best here.
Man,
Well,
and then
that's
the Al Harris thing. Al Harris is a guy that I was advocating for on a podcast 2.5 years ago when Eberflus ended up hiring Eric Washington. He was looking for defensive coordinator, and I wanted Al Harris. And in retrospect, that might have been a good call. I'd rather be early on some of these guys than late, and that's why teams want to interview Declan Doyle and hire him, because you can get in on the ground floor on something that could become real special. I think Al Harris is that. I think it makes total sense that he becomes a defensive coordinator. I think that's a logical next step for him in his progression. Do you think there's any chance in hell that we retain Al Harris on our
No,
defensive staff?
no, I don't. I think it's probably time for Al Harris to go call some plays on defense, man. It's probably time for him to find out what he's worth. It's a make it or break it moment for Al Harris. He needs to see if he can be the next defensive guru in the NFL.
Yeah, man, I agree, and the writing is on the wall with this one, and it's only a matter of time before a guy who's such a damn good head coach, such a damn good coach. He's been an assistant head coach. He's such a damn good leader and motivator of people. Guys just want to play for him. It just makes too much sense. I think
he's good.
I think the Green Bay thing might be behind the Washington thing for him. He played in Green Bay, sure, but he coached with Dan Quinn. There's a relationship there. You might see him in Washington. He might choose Washington over Green Bay, but at the same time, Green Bay has a much better stable of players on the defensive side, especially with the healthy Micah Parsons, than the Commanders do.
Yeah, I think it's important to note, man, that, like, we talked about this with Randall L. It's not just,
It's a good point, Cole.
He's a player's guy, but Al Harris has done a really good job at his job. He's been really good at developing, and like, Nashawn Wright was a fucking nobody when the season started, dude. Like,
Yeah.
he's a practice squatter. The guy's gonna go get $100 million. Like, it's unfortunately, man, and this is just the way it works. But, like, I think
When
Al
you're a
Harris,
successful team, yes. When you're a successful team, this is the way it works.
and I think Al Harris is ready to get a shot. I think he should.
Yeah, and I mean, Scottish says here Jonathan Gannon is going to be the next Green Bay DC. Calling a shot, and I like that. Jonathan Gannon is a damn good defensive coordinator, and that seems like a guy Matt LaFleur would gravitate to. So what if these guys who have been defensive coordinators and then became head coaches are out there on the market like a Gannon, and they take those spots, and Al Harris still doesn't have one, man? Like, there is this potential that, when the musical chairs is done, there's no place for Al Harris to sit, and he comes back here. And if I was the Bears, I'd make him an assistant head coach for me to maintain some, continuity with this defensive backfield that we have. Al Harris has worked wonders with a lot of these guys, and, like, give him a promotion within the building. That's what I would try to do if I was the Bears, to keep him. Like, hey, man, you're Dennis Allen's right-hand man. You're an assistant head coach. Promote him, give him a raise, and he can stick with Chicago. Ideally, that's what would happen from my perspective. Obviously, I want to keep the guy because I fucking love Al Harris. But at the same time, if he has an opportunity to get that role and see what he's got, show his worth in that defensive coordinator role, he should take advantage of that opportunity. I look at it a little differently than I look at the Declan Doyle thing, in terms of, I don't think Declan Doyle's ready, but I think Al Harris is ready. And like you said, if he wants a shot, he should go take it. And I think someone's going to give it to him eventually.
Yeah, and
that's what I believe too, Scottish. That's what I believe too. He says Al Harris goes to Washington or stays at the Bears.
And if he does stay, then he's probably doing the same thing. He's probably doing the same thing that Declan Doyle is. He's probably just raising his stock,
becoming more desirable. Yes,
when you
he's going to
don't
continue to do good work with these defensive backs.
When you don't take the promotion, you don't fail. And when you don't fail, the intrigue is always there. Al Harris could remain with the Bears, he could turn down the Washington job, turn down the Packers job, remain with the Bears, and still get the calls next year. You know, there might not be 8 coaching vacancies or whatever it is, coordinating positions. I'm sure it's like closer, higher than 8 because a lot of teams fired their coordinators that didn't fire their head coaches. But the opportunities will be there for Al Harris as long as he wants.
Yeah, and Cole's saying Washington is a weird spot. Is Dan Quinn still the play caller moving forward for the defense? I think if you hire Al Harris and you're Dan Quinn, you're hiring him to be your defensive play caller, and you're giving Al Harris that shot. And the fact that they have they've been on the same defensive staff together. Dan Quinn hired Al Harris previously in Dallas when he was the defensive coordinator. Like, it makes a lot of sense. That fit makes a lot more sense to me than the Packers fit, regardless of the fact that he played for the Packers. I think Washington makes a whole lot more sense. Well, but you did just
say something that, I mean, if Dan Quinn says, "Hey, Al, I want you to come here and be my defensive coordinator," I'm going to retain the play calling. I think he takes the Packers job.
I don't know that the Packers job is going to be offered to him, but if it is, I think he's going to jump on an offer if he gets it. But I think there's a higher probability than people are giving credit to in terms of Al Harris ending up back on the Bears. I've been telling you that for weeks, Brandon. I think that there's a higher probability of that. But I also thought there was a potential for Bieniemy to get a promotion but like when you get hired, you get offered the offensive coordinator job with, especially like same thing with Al Harris. Like, he has familiarity with Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy does, and Andy Reid has familiarity with him, and he trusts him. So that just makes too much sense. You know, if that opening pops up, you're going to take it. And all of this means is that the Bears had a damn good coaching staff this year, which we talked about all offseason leading into it, and we saw it play out on the field, and that they had a damn successful season when your coaches are being poached from your roster. It means that Ben Johnson is doing his job really well. He's picking the right guys, and he's putting them in a damn good position to succeed. And the league is seeing it, and they want a piece of that. So, and when's the last time that happened for the Chicago Bears?
Well, it should make you feel comfortable, guys, if you're worried about the turnover. If you're worried about the Bears losing these pieces, Eric Bieniemy, Declan Doyle, Al Harris, good head coaches aren't just play callers. They're guys who identify talent. And Ben's done it as a head coach. He hired a great staff. He did it as a head coach in regards to the draft. Ben Johnson knows talent. And don't worry, Ben Johnson's fine.
And that can kind of move us towards unless you have anything else to say about the coaching stuff. I know there was Jesse Minter got hired by the Ravens today.
Yeah,
I think that's a fucking awesome hire. I was talking about Minter last year. I love that guy from the Harbaugh tree. I mean, I think he's going to be damn good as a head coach. That's what I believe. I think Hafley's going to be a shit show in Miami.
What was Minter, the offensive coordinator of LA?
No, defensive coordinator
of LA.
Yeah. He was with Harbaugh at Michigan too. I mean, he's been with Harbaugh for a while. But I think he's going to be a damn good coach. I think that was a really smart hire by the Ravens, and that defense is going to get back to kind of what it was when Mike McDonald was there. That's what I believe. I think the Ravens are taking a really smart approach to this, and they got in. And there's another guy they're getting in early with this guy. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I think they're going to bear with him, and they're in it for the long haul. I think they gave him a 5-year deal. The Robert Saleh thing, man, I love Robert Saleh, but I think he just might be one of those guys that's a coordinator and a damn good one, but not a head coach. And I think the Titans might be fucking up Cam Ward. It's going to really come down to who the offensive coordinator hire is. I don't know if he's going to make the right one. He had LaFleur in New York, the baby LaFleur, the little one, and he had Nathaniel Hackett. I mean, he didn't make great offensive coordinator hires there, and it didn't really pan out. I don't know if he's going to do the right thing here in Tennessee. I got a bad feeling about it. If he hires a badass offensive coordinator, then I'll change my tune a little bit. But I don't like the hire, especially when you got a second-year quarterback. I thought Kubiak made a lot of sense for Tennessee. Pair Cam Ward with that offensive guru like the Bears did in Caleb's second year with Ben Johnson. Let your quarterback take off. Now it's going to come down to who Saleh hires at that position, and you just don't know how that's going to work. And that concerns me when it comes to Cam Ward, because I think that kid has a lot of talent.
Yeah, I thought the Dolphins and the Titans both dropped the ball, Dustin.
The Dolphins, 100%. Hafley is going to be a shit show. And that's one firmly what I believe, and I believe that before he took a job wherever he was going to take it. I
Yeah,
just
that
didn't.
Dolphins team's going to be terrible.
What another great hire in the cycle up to this point was the offensive coordinator hire. Mike McDaniel going to the Chargers with Harbaugh and Herbert. That's a good hire. I like the way I
Yeah, it's
like.
pretty scary.
Yeah, because what he can do in the running game is what he is really the best at, and Harbaugh will utilize the shit out of that. That run game is going to become not just that like utilized to ground and pound, but it's going to become exotic. It's going to become creative because Mike McDaniel is one of the most creative run play designers in the NFL, and Herbert is going to thrive. Yes, I know so. That's what he was for the Niners. That's what got him hired in Miami. He was their run game.
I thought he underused Devon Shane, but
the way he runs, Devon A. Shane is kind of a crapshoot in terms of how much do you want to use that guy. You don't want to overuse him either.
I think Tua's terrible. I think Tomlin or McDaniel did a really good job at making Tua look better than he is, and I think McDaniel could have a really big impact on a Brock Purdy.
Justin Herbert. Well, yeah. I mean, the Niners aren't looking for an offensive. Yeah. But this Cole, he says, from what I've heard, if Dable doesn't get the Bills job, he's supposed to pick the Titans. Now that would change my thoughts in terms of Robert Saleh and that Titans thing that they're doing.
Yeah,
Titans,
and Cole, you're not wrong, because if he doesn't get that job, he's not going to be a head coach.
Yeah,
if he doesn't get the Bills job. If that guy does not get the Bills head coach,
he's going to be an offensive coordinator somewhere. Yes,
100%. That guy will not be a head coach if he's not the head coach of the Bills.
Yeah, if the Bills are just trying to save Josh Allen and they hire Dable back, then that could make some sense. But yeah, I think he could help Cam Ward tremendously, and that would change my tune an awful lot. Scroll says, weird thing is Minter is originally from the John Harbaugh tree. So Baltimore is basically replacing John Harbaugh with John Harbaugh.
I kind of thought that when you said it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, John Harbaugh, and then he's been with Jim Harbaugh. I just think he's going to be a damn good coach. And honestly, I didn't think the Ravens should have fired Harbaugh in the first place. I guess it comes to that eventually. But
yeah, Harbaugh and Tomlin, man.
Another offensive coordinator hire that is going to be a complete disaster is the Petzig to Detroit. I think they might have outdone themselves. They might have done worse hiring him than they did hiring Morton in the first place. I don't like that fit at all for that Lions offense. I did not like what he did in Arizona.
Okay, so
I don't like the guy as a candidate at all. I'm kind of happy the Lions hired that guy, and I'm really happy the Packers extended Matt LaFleur because I think Ben Johnson has that guy's number.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw this, guys. It's kind of relevant to Bears fans. Brian Flores did sign an extension with Minnesota.
Yep. So I mean, there's a lot of moving parts going on with this. We'll see where the Bears coaching staff lands. Is there anything I missed in terms of the coaching stuff, guys? Guys in the chat, Brandon, is there anything that the one that I'm looking at the most, man, to me is Cam Ward. Who's going to be his offensive coordinator? That's going to be hugely important to his development and growth. And I think he can be a damn good quarterback in the NFL. So.
I'm going to be honest, man. I can't believe I'm saying this because I don't think it's going to result in like winning Super Bowls. I would love to see Brian Dable be offered that Cleveland Browns job with a young Shedeur Sanders.
That would be such a shit show, dude. There's no way Dable wants Shedeur Sanders, and I like Shedeur Sanders.
There's no way, buddy. Anyway, I'm going to be honest with you. Listen,
anybody wants that job.
No, they don't. Yeah. Nobody wants that Browns job. It's pretty remarkable. I don't think I've seen a single report about a guy visiting the Browns.
But just to clarify with the Flores,
by the way, I do like Stefanski in Atlanta. I'll say that too.
I'm not the biggest fan of that.
I know we disagreed when it happened.
I guess I like Stefanski, but I don't know. He made some very questionable decisions this last couple of years in Cleveland, man. I don't know. I don't trust him. So and there's a lot of firepower there, but I don't think he's a firepower guy. He's a run the ball guy. I think it's going to be good for Bijan, but who's your quarterback? Is it fucking Kirk Cousins? I don't know. Cole says, I'm interested in the Raiders. I think Cliff and Mendoza will be nice. Clint Kubiak to the Raiders makes a lot of sense. I've been thinking about that too with that Mendoza thing. And then I wanted to clarify with the Flores.
I wanted Mike Tomlin to take that job, dude.
I wanted Tomlin to take the Falcons job, but he can't take no job because he's still under rights with the Steelers. They would have to trade him. So you got to trade for him right now. To clarify with the Flores thing, he took the extension with the Vikings, but at the same time, he is still looking to do head coaching interviews. And if he
Yeah.
gets a head coaching gig, that's what he will do.
Yeah,
I think
he informed the Vikings he'd take
Yeah.
another job, not like a Liam Cohen situation
yeah. I
where you
think
disappear for 2 days.
Flores has a tough hill to climb in terms of getting another head coaching job with the way he tried to sued the NFL. I don't know if he's going to get a head coaching job. If a team were to do it, it would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the one team I could see doing that. I don't think any other team is going to have the
Well, yeah,
balls
I
to
think
even hire
Sean
him as their
Sean
head
had
coach.
texted us. Sean had texted us that Mike Tomlin suggested to the Steelers that they hire him. He recommended.
Yes.
I don't know that you take the advice of a guy who's
That's a
walking
good
out,
point,
but
Cole.
the Bucks did it.
Scroll says, I don't even want that Browns job. I prefer to stay at my current job. And Cole says Stefanski gives off the energy that he's above the team and his ego comes first. I mean, yeah, the way he approached, like I said, the last couple of seasons,
I'm not
just
going to
not a
question
fan.
Stefanski's character. I like Stefanski as a dude. I think he's a cool dude.
Fuck the Packers, Sean. Welcome to the show.
What's going on, Sean? Thanks for joining us, man. Sean Rowe.
Oh yeah, and also fuck the Packers. Who the Bears beat in the playoffs?
Yeah, fuck the Packers.
Yeah, that must have been hard to watch, man. That game had to have been really hard to watch for Packers fans. God damn.
It's not like your quarterback is a 250 win percentage in the playoffs. What?
Yeah.
That's egregious, dude. It's 1-4. Eesh.
So the coaching stuff, again, we'll see where the rest of the Bears staff lands. I think they're going to hold on to a good majority of this coaching staff, and I think a lot of this coaching staff wants to stay here because Ben Johnson is special, and they got something special going on. Looking to real quick, just kind of.
Well, let me ask you one more question about the coaches. Do you think, if you're an Eagles fan, do you want Declan Doyle to be your play call?
I don't think Eagles fans know what they want. I don't think they know if they want Sirianni to be their head coach.
I think no. I said this on Monday's show.
I don't know, man.
I don't think that's a good choice, hiring Declan Doyle right now. Who was in the chat earlier to say he's not ready?
That was Scottish.
I don't think it's a good choice. And not even saying this so like as a biased parent, like we had to retain this guy. I think you're making a mistake if you hire Declan Doyle today.
I think he needs more time. Yeah. But I don't know, man. I don't know if Eagles fans know what they want. I don't think they even know if they like rooting for their team. So it's hard to get into the mind of an Eagles
It's
fan.
quite a shit show over there.
Yes. But what the question I was going to ask you, man, if looking back on this Bears season, this fucking awesome Bears season, I went into what a treat it was, how they treated us all year, man. I couldn't be happier with this team, more proud of the effort that they put on the field, and more proud to have, with all this coaching shit going on. I've made this point before, all these teams firing head coaches. Ben Johnson is our head coach. We're usually in this shit show as Chicago Bears fans, but we get to stand above it and say, we got Ben Johnson while all these teams scramble for leftovers for their coaching positions, and like you look at the Bills, they just fired Sean McDermott. They were in the same round of the playoffs as the Chicago Bears, and they look like a shit show. The Bears have some the Bears have some stability here. The Bears have some stuff to hang their hat on. If you look back on this season, though, Brandon, what's the thing that's going to stick with you the most from this season? Like one word, one thought, like what this season meant to you, or what stands out to you from this team that, like, you're going to hold on to. Is that a good question?
Yeah, and I would love to just say Caleb, but my answer
it's the easy answer
is lessons.
What's that mean?
This team
elaborate.
They responded to their failures as opposed to the last one. That the coaches, Ben Johnson and Caleb alike, when you saw something that you wanted to get fixed, it typically did. And you can't fix it all, guys. Because I know you're going to throw at me like, oh, they never really fixed the 3/4 of bad football. Like there's a lot of time to fix a lot of shit. But I felt like, and I don't want to take credit for it, but after the bye week, I I think I was the first person to hear myself say, like, this run game was just completely flipped at that moment.
Non-existent. It was
It
non-existent the
was
first 5 weeks of
flipped
the
on its
season,
head.
Brandon.
So
First 4 weeks.
to me, Dustin, it's lessons between the quarterback and your head coach. When they made mistakes, you saw them correct it, you saw it fixed, you saw them do better the next time around. That's something we just weren't accustomed to. You saw Matt Eberflus make the same mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. You saw the same shit. Matt Eberflus, which is ironic, was the Matt LaFleur. It was just choking away games and then doing it again the next week and not learning anything from it the week before. It couldn't wrap your head around the fact that these guys couldn't fix the things that smacked them in the face week after week. And Ben Johnson looks clearly like a guy who's going to all the stuff that we said as fans after a game, Dustin, like, oh, that was shit. Those penalties were shit. That run game was ass. The rookies aren't playing enough. It all got fixed.
And my word, kind of the word that comes to mind for me that kind of like wraps with that a little bit is accountability. Ben Johnson consistently took accountability in those mistakes and in those lessons learned. And taking that accountability enables you to look inward and say, this is a way that I can fix it. What's the solution? And you saw that solution implemented that very next week within a quick turnaround, man. And like the accountability for the players, they held players accountable. We've seen many Bears teams where like they just didn't have it. They didn't have it. You could go out there and perform like shit, and you still had your job the next week. You saw Braxton Jones get pulled. You saw Theo Benedict get replaced. You saw the competition. That's another word that stands out that was brought up very early
on the
on
bench
with Ben Johnson. Like we're gonna compete, and you saw that competition all the way back in preseason when Dolphins players were fucking look like a deer in headlights when the Bears players went out there on that practice field and beat the shit out of them. There's leadership in this building that the Bears have not had in a very long time. You got to go back to Lovie Smith for that. And I think it's on another level beyond that. So that accountability that comes with that leadership and that competition that comes with that leadership, like you got to earn your job, that made the difference and it changed the culture. And that's what we were asking for. This was a toxic environment, a toxic building. You saw it. And you needed a guy with a strong personality and a strong commitment to the process in order to come in and change that culture. And that's exactly what the Bears did, and that's exactly what they have going forward. I want to get to the chat because I love the fact that they're throwing out some answers here. Ant Mass's word that he thinks of looking back on this season was promise. I like that. There's a lot of promise going forward. That's looking forward as well, but you saw that promise be delivered on throughout this season very early on, a lot earlier than some of us expected. So that's a good one. Shy Tech says progress. They made that progress. I mean, you think most specifically about Caleb Williams, but you saw that defense get better every week, regardless of who was injured. You saw Ben Johnson get better every week. You saw Luther Burden and Colston Loveland make that progress. And that goes right back to that coaching and that accountability and that competition, right? And those lessons learned that Brandon was talking about. All these things tie together. That's great, though, Shy Tex. Ant-Man says, a lot to look forward to, a bright future. Scottish says, yes, it is a bright future, Ant-Mess. I agree with you. That's how I'm feeling about this. Scottish says, my delight with this team is, we have found a way to win. Yes, in the clutch moments, this team kept its composure because they were coached right. They were ready for the moment, and the teams they played weren't. And that's why the Bears came out on top in those situations, Scottish. I agree with you. Cole says, this season is the first time in my life I've watched the Bears win because of their QB instead of just winning with them. That's a damn good point. And Caleb is obviously the easiest and first thing that comes to mind, and that's okay because he is the thing that stands out the most. He is the light that guides this team. So yes, he made plays to win them games, and that obviously stands out when you look back on this Chicago Bears season. You can't have a highlight reel of what this team did this year without it being Caleb Williams at the forefront of that, man. And he put this team on his back in multiple occasions and won them games. So that's a damn good one, Cole. Jed says, my answer to this question would be good, better, best. The team demonstrated it week after week as the season got better and better for the Bears fans. Yeah, man. And Ben Johnson talked about taking the words on the wall and putting them into action, putting them on the field when he's looking back on the season. And he was able to get his coaching staff to buy into that. And then they go and get to the players and they bought into that. And that good, better, best really meant something for all of us this year. And it meant something for that Chicago Bears team. They were playing their best football when it mattered most. They came up a little short, and that fucking sucks because they should have won that game. They could have and they should have, but they didn't. And that's the way it goes in the NFL. And that's why we love this shit, because one game will end your fucking season, and you gotta be your best in those moments. And the Bears came up a little short, but they left it all on the field. They did. And they played hard all season, and they came out in a big way in the biggest moments, found a way to get it done. Gonna miss those speeches this offseason. Yeah, we can just watch the old ones though. Scroll says the battery of Ben and Caleb is the only thing that mattered for the next 10 years. Everyone else will be just extras in the movie. That's a damn good point, man. And I made this point to Packers fans when they were crying on X after the Bears beat them, and the game for the third time was decided on Caleb's arm. The game was decided on Caleb's arm when the Bears lost. Caleb threw the interception when he was trying to get it to Cole Kmet. If he gets it there, Bears are going to win. If he doesn't, Bears are going to lose. But those 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 games weren't decided by Jordan Love. Jordan Love is an extra in the Caleb Williams story. Caleb Williams is the main character. He is the protagonist. He is the hero of the story. And sometimes you're going to fail. Sometimes you're going to succeed. But yeah, Ben Johnson and Caleb are the main characters of this story going forward. I agree with you 100%, Scrolls. What else? Should have won. It was Rocky 1. Yeah. And so Rocky 2 is coming up, right? You're going to go out there and get the win. Go out there and battle it out and overcome that adversity. Scroll says hard for a rookie QB to develop with a whiny wide receiver, and last year's staff allowed that crap. Yeah, man, and that accountability is going to come into play. We talked ad nauseum on Monday about this. It's hard for me to pinpoint a time where I've been more disappointed with a player on a football field, man, in terms of the effort. The effort, your effort should never be called into question, but it's not being called into question arbitrarily. There's a reason it's being called into question. It's because DJ Moore allowed that to be the case with his actions over the last couple of years in certain situations, things that he said, and then what he put on tape on Sunday, man, in the most important moment of his professional career. He did not do enough. And I think he knows that. I love DJ Moore. If he's a part of this Bears team, I'm going to root for him. But goddamn, that play was disappointing. He let his team down. He let us down. He let his quarterback down. I don't know, man. Scottish says, I want the bye week later in the season. Week 4 or 5 is far too early. That hurt us. Later or anything from week 10 and onwards. Yeah, no, we knew that when we saw the schedule, man. But I thought the Bears did a really good job utilizing that bye week and utilizing the time leading up to the season to be ready for that bye week when it came, to like really make some big time adjustments and change the trajectory of their season. And they did that really well, man. So I think this coaching staff is going to figure it out no matter where it falls, Scottish. But I do agree, having it later, get you a little extra rest, get you a little more time to go into that stretch run with that winner's mentality and make those adjustments. We'll see where it falls, man. Last season we were talking about how hard this Bears schedule was. The winning percentage was the highest or second highest from last year going into this season. Now everybody's saying our schedule is much harder this year. We were talking about how the Bears had the second or third hardest schedule in the NFL going into this season, and they won 11 games. So, like, you can cut all that shit out. Like, shit changes. Teams change. As Ben Johnson pointed out, the next season is a completely different season than the one we just went through. It's going to be a new team. We're starting from the bottom, and we got to get to the top. The fact that our coach has that mentality is a goddamn great sign, and it means that they can overcome the scheduling. They can overcome adversity within a game. They can overcome the injuries. You've seen it already. So don't fucking talk to me about next year's schedule and how hard it is when half these teams aren't going to be the goddamn same. All these teams are not going to be the same. Last year's record means jack shit to next year's season. We have seen that. We all talked about how hard this Bears schedule was going to be. Cole says this divisional game and was that last play, then being nowhere for the media after the game. When you're the top paid guy on offense, you got to take that on the chin and own it. 100%. Ben Johnson went out there and did it. Caleb Williams answered questions about it. And you're kind of leaving your guys hung out to dry. That makes it that much worse. And it tells me that you know you didn't give the effort you should have. That's what it tells me. Especially when you consider that, as I said earlier, DJ Moore has been one of the most vocal and out front players on the Bears since he has been here. He had podium time all of last year. This guy always talks to the media, and he's always got something to say. We talked about what he had to say about Justin Fields and how he was better than any rookie quarterback coming out in that class, the one that Caleb was coming out in. Which all of these things, they lend themselves to me having these thoughts like, do you really want to be here? Do you really want to be the number one guy? Do you really want to give that effort? And for you to tell me I'm hating, anyone to tell me I'm hating because I have those thoughts, when I've worked so hard, honestly, to defend DJ Moore, and I've put in a lot of effort into that because I like the guy. But, like, I can't ignore what's staring me in the face. All these things start to add up. It's like when, like, in Step Brothers, when they're having the awesome interview with Seth Rogen and then, you know, they fart. And then Seth Rogen's like, you know, come to think of it, those suits are kind of fucking creepy. It's like, you know, DJ, you've done all these things leading up to it. Now that I look back on it, it's like, what did that really mean? What did that really tell me? Brandon, where the fuck are you at, man? I mean, I'm holding it down, but Jesus, are you taking a shit? Okay. Guys, I'm looking forward to this season. The next one. This season literally just ended, but I'm looking forward to this next one because I think this offseason is going to be hugely important to what this team does, obviously. And I think it's, in a lot of ways, it's going to be more important than the one we just went through, which, you know, has been called the best offseason Ryan Poles has had. That's 100% accurate. The best offseason the Bears have had in 8 years since, you know, the 2018 when they traded for Khalil Mack. Might have been better than that. So, I mean, like, in this offseason, the Bears are going to face – Ryan Poles is about to face issues that he has not faced as a GM. You are now a cash-strapped GM. Like, you had the dead money and a lot of contracts to get rid of when you got here, but you were able to flip that really well and turn it into a lot of money that you just kind of held on to and bought your time and figured things out. But you were never really, like, over the cap with a competitive team. This is – you had teams that – didn't have high expectations, didn't have a target on their back, and had a lot of cap room. And you can kind of be selective. This year, you're going to have to work a lot of financial stuff in a different way than you've had to, and I'm really curious to see how that works out. Scroll says that when you factor in that DJ makes more than Max Crosby with 0 Pro Bowl appearances. Again, we've talked about DJ. I'll say I love DJ. There's a lot of things to defend him on. That play wasn't one of them. There's certain things that you can't defend him on. There's a lot of things that you should defend him on as a Bears fan because he does put a lot on the line he puts his body on the line for us as fans and for his team. And he sets a good example for them. Cole, I don't know if that's a possibility either, but when we're talking about this offseason, a trade for Max Crosby would be fucking amazing, man. But the first thing you got to do is create cap space because from what I understand, you're looking to be about $13 to $15 million over the cap. Oh, Brandon, I guess, has got to go pull his friend out of a ditch in the snow. When Brandon says his friend, he's talking about some bitch he met on Tinder. That's what I've come to find. Brandon, if you're not going to be here, I'm going to just go ahead and pull you off. Get you out of here. You're going to have to create some space. You're talking about cutting Tremaine Edmonds. That is on the docket, and that is going to happen. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but he's way too overpaid, and he doesn't perform enough to stay on this roster. I like what DeMarco Jackson did. TJ Edwards is stuck here. That contract is I didn't necessarily like the extension when it happened. I talked about it on here. But it is what it is. He's on your roster, and he's hurt. So we'll see when he can come back. And the fact that he's on your roster, he's hurt, he's taking up the cap space, and now you got to get another guy to replace him, and you're going to cut Tremaine Edmonds, and you need the guy to replace him. Like, DeMarco Jackson is a free agent. You're going to have to sign him and bring him back. What's that going to cost? Probably not very much, but, like, there's so many things here. You have to restructure contracts. You're going to have to restructure a contract like Dahlman's potentially. You're going to have to restructure a contract like Cole Kmet's potentially. Is Jalen Johnson an option for that? How are these guys going to work with you? I don't know. You trade DJ Moore, from what I understand, you're only clearing about $16 million in cap just from the trade, even though he is a $28.5 million guy on the year. I got something I have here. Let me pull this up because I want to make sure I'm getting some of this right. These are potential cap savings. If you cut Tremaine Edmonds, you save $15 million. Dead money, $2.5 million. So that's why he's a clear cap casualty. Cole Kmet, you could have cap savings of $8.5 million, but you got dead money 3.2. I think Cole Kmet is really liked by his coaching staff and Ben Johnson. I think he showed himself to be a big part of this offense. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think you restructure, you save some money that way. Montez Sweat, if you cut him, $6.9 million cap savings, dead money 18.5. He's not going nowhere. And I don't know about restructuring either with Montez Sweat. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. Scottish says, Poles has screwed up the construction on the defensive side of the ball. That's why we are in the cap situation. We shouldn't be in this situation with the rookie QB deal. Yeah, I mean, when we talked about it earlier, when you have one of the highest, I think the third or fourth highest paid defense in the NFL, and this is the kind of defense you have, and these guys are older. Hey, Brandon's back. Pull your friend out of a ditch already? What's up? No, I can't hear you. I got nothing. You're not muted. Poles has screwed up the construction on the defensive side of the ball. That's why we are in the cap situation. We shouldn't be in a situation with rookie QB deal. Back to what you were saying. The amount of money they put into this defense to get the production that you've gotten, it's a big problem. Yeah, and you got the Dio contract that you're stuck with in 2026 for sure. You got the Edwards contract that you're stuck with in 2026. And you got the Grady Jarrett contract that you're stuck with in 2026. There's no moving on from that. You're going to have to draft really well on the defensive side of the ball to infuse some young cap-controlled talent onto this defense to pair with some of these guys that you're going to keep. And then you talk about both of your starting safeties being free agents, guys. Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker, both free agents. Like, you got to bring one of them back. And I'll say this, and it's not going to be a popular opinion. I would 100% rather re-sign Jaquan Brisker than Kevin Byard. I like Kevin Byard a lot, but guy's in his 30s. Jaquan Brisker is younger. We got to, again, build through the draft, get young. So how would keeping Kevin Byard fit that mold over retaining Jaquan Brisker? It's obviously going to depend on the money and how much it's going to cost. I think Byard's going to be cheaper, so that makes a difference, right? But Brisker showed the player he can be throughout the season at multiple points. And then that last game, most importantly, when it mattered the most, he gave the most. He gave you everything he had, and he was running around like his fucking head was on fire, just making shit happen. That's the kind of player he can be. I've really thought that. I know you got the injury stuff with him, the concussion stuff, so that becomes an issue. So, like, these concerns, do they lead to more of a team-friendly deal where you can retain Brisker but not have to break the bank to do it? I mean, is it $10 million a year? Is it $13 million a year? I've done the work and looked at some of these contracts for safeties that have been signed recently, and it kind of makes sense. You're looking in that $12 to $15 million a year range. Can you make that work? Does anybody want Jaquan Brisker back? I feel like I'm in a minority in these conversations, just with the little bit that I have. Sorry, guys, I got behind on the chat. Let's see here. Anybody want Brisker back over Byard? Am I just on my own with that? Cole, 100%. Grady Jarrett was awesome the last 6 weeks of the season. He really was. And if he can continue to bring that with the leadership that he brings, and that stuff that all comes with him, then he's a valuable piece of this defense. He was the biggest and best run stuffer on this defense over the last 6 weeks. Brandon, welcome back. I'm talking about looking forward, things that the Bears are going to have to do. But, I mean, the main thing I wanted to talk about in that regard is, like, 2 safeties, both free agents, your 2 starting safeties. I know we've talked about this. I would much rather re-sign Jaquan Brisker than Kevin Byard.
Can I ask why?
He's younger. He's got a brighter future. He showed you in that game what he is capable of. He showed you throughout the season what he is capable of in terms of leading this team in tackles throughout multiple games, batting down a lot of passes, being great on the blitz. We know what his weakness is, and it's always going to be coverage. But if he's in that zone coverage, sitting back versus man coverage, it's a very different story if he's just help over the top, which is what your safeties are generally supposed to be. And I think he can get better at it too. I think Bayard's just older, man, and like what are you gonna do? A 1 year deal with Bayard, 2 year deal max?
Well,
Like
well,
I
first
just want
off,
to stay
man,
young. I want to keep the players I drafted, and I just think Brisker's a damn good player and he doesn't get enough credit for the role he plays on this defense.
okay, I get the youth thing is important. I mean, for a young guy though,
Too many concussions, Scottish.
Brisker
Yeah, I
hasn't
get
played a
you.
whole lot of football. For a young guy, he's missed a
The
lot of
concussion
football.
concerns are
And
are
and I think you got an all-pro player
well
at a
stated.
cheap deal. Kevin Byard was all-pro, and you got a cheap deal, and he's now leading the league in interceptions since the year he was drafted. But that's not what's important, Dustin, to this team.
Okay,
He's a
Scrolls.
he's a captain. They're gonna bring him back. Bring back a
Yeah, I'm just saying if it were me, man, I'd go with the youth in the same way that we had that Rome DJ conversation.
youth over leadership.
I mean, I think Jaquan Brisker is really underrated as a leader for this defense in terms of the energy he brings. I don't. Do you see
Well,
the energy that
it's
he brings
hard.
to this
Yeah,
defense?
but it's hard to lead when you're not always on the field.
But how many games did he miss this season?
None. Which
None.
which
Our biggest concern was
maybe,
could he stay healthy for this
but
season,
yeah,
and he
and you know
did. He
what,
did that.
Dustin? Your biggest concern now should be that he stayed healthy for this whole season because he's going to get a big contract. I believe that
I
firmly.
wonder if
Jaquan Brisker, the market is the way it is. Jaquan Brisker is going to get a big deal.
I mean, I wonder if there's a team friendly option in terms of, the fact that he has had a hard time staying on the field. He does like Chicago. He does want to be here, I believe, but I think he will go for the bag. And if there's a team that wants to pay him more than the Bears are
Of
comfortable
course,
with, he'll
it
be
should.
gone.
It's his life. It's his life. It's well-being. It's not. He doesn't choose the Bears fans over $100 million, dude. That's just not.
The fact that Nick Eamon Cole was a second round pick is insane. I was texting Brandon about this not too long ago. I had Eamon as a top 10 player in the draft in terms of my top 10 list. And the fact that he went in the second round was fucking insane. Shame on the league for letting that happen. But yeah, the safety position is
And shame on the
undervalued
league for
in that
letting him go
respect.
where he went.
Yeah, man. I mean, Eamon is
Jesus.
just a goddamn beast. And the fact that he went in the second round, I felt the same way about Cooper DeJean when he went to the Eagles. I had him as a top 10 player in that draft as well. And both of those guys have kind of proved me right up to this point.
For the first time, Dustin, I said this on Monday's show.
Scrolls makes a good point here. Hey, I got a piss. Give me 1 second.
Okay,
go ahead,
guys. For the first time ever on Monday, I said this on Monday. For the first time ever, as a Bears fan, you've got a season ending, you've got heartbreak, disappointment, but and I hate to be so cliche with this glass half full, glass half empty conversation, but don't you, for the first time ever, feel like you're in good shape? No matter how many coaches are hired off the staff, no matter how many free agents don't get re-signed. Which by the way, I do want to say this. We're very focused on who we sign, who we re-sign, who we bring back, especially on the defensive side of football. Because if you look at offense, there's nobody major besides Darnell Wright. I mean, you've got I like Smythe. I think Durham Smythe should. I don't think it's going to cost you a whole lot of money to bring Durham Smythe back because he's nothing but a blocker. Like the guy can't catch the ball. It's pretty obvious. So bring him back. He's like a left tackle and he's on the end of the line. This guy can block really well. But in regards to your free agents, you're mostly on the defensive side of the football, guys. And were you happy with the defense? You want to be bringing all these guys back? Is there a possibility that look at what Scroll says here? Allen's defense requires safeties with range, and Brisker does. Is Allen's defense have anything it requires? Because to me, it became very obvious that he drafted Ruben Hippolyte because T.J. Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds lack speed, right? You drafted a 4-3 linebacker because you're looking at a guy who can bring an element to this defense that you just didn't have. Maybe you missed. Maybe you hit on the wrong guy. Maybe you missed. But it was clear what Dennis Allen was trying to do, and I think Dennis Allen is going to make a lot more moves than just a fast linebacker to get the defense that he's looking for. I think when you're talking about free agents who are mostly on the defensive side of the football, we can fall in love with players. Like I said, I don't fall in love. I don't.
How long did
Jaquan
it take
Brisker.
you to change the subject from Jaquan Brisker? You still talking about him?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
no,
don't
sorry.
love Jaquan Brisker. I think he's a replacement level player. I think this defense was bad, guys. I don't think you should worry too much about who you might lose on defense as long as Dennis Allen is replacing them with players that fit better to his. We just talked about Tyler Warren being the clear number 1 pick at this position in the draft, and Ben identified somebody that belongs in his system. That's the problem with the defense, guys. I don't think that a lot of these players that we shit on every day that shit on us are all like lack talent. Like I think a Tremaine Edmonds can fit somewhere. Like it was clear the linebacker and core needed speed. They don't provide that. Dennis Allen's probably going to replace him with somebody who does. I think if you see Jaquan Brisker leave and Dennis Allen selects a guy in the draft, a safety in the draft, he's probably better fit to Dennis Allen's scheme.
That's a very
So
good point, Brennan.
so
That's a very good point. Listen, I'll say this when it comes to
I
Jaquan.
think Dennis Allen, regardless of how much talent you lose, will spend the next few years, guys, and it will probably take that unless Ryan Poles is able to flip this line on a dime like he did the offensive line. You're probably going to see Dennis Allen over the course of the next couple seasons fill this roster with players that fit what he wants to do. And I think when he's proven to us guys time and time again when he gets the pieces that require, he's got a top 10 defense in the NFL. And if Dennis Allen doesn't think Jaquan Brisker is worth re-signing, I'm with him. I'm with him all
I
the way.
agree. I agree. And Scroll says right here, Allen's defense requires safeties with range, and Brisker doesn't cover well. We know that that's his weakness.
Yeah, they're quarters. They're quarters. They play quarter, guys. Which is a very strange defense. It's not common in the NFL, right, Dustin? You don't see this a lot. It's weird, and I understand Dennis Allen's approach to. So this is Dennis Allen's defense in a nutshell, guys. You play press man up front. You cut off routes. You end the play early, and the guys behind you are playing way back. That's because Dennis Allen's defense is infamous for not giving up a big play. That's the whole premise of his defense, which is funny because the Bears, at some point in the season, I think were like leading the league in giving up big plays. But is that imply to you? If Dennis Allen's focus is on not giving up big plays and the Bears consistently do it, there's a safety there that's a problem. I know that.
Okay, so let me just make the point on Brisker where my head goes. I think he started to show that he fits within this defense. He started to show that. He also is younger. He's a guy you drafted. You say build through the draft, and part of that involves re-signing the guys that you drafted. You should only re-sign them if they earn that spot, if they earn that next contract. I understand his flaw is in coverage, but I think some of the strengths he has really make up for that in a big way. And I would just hate to see you let Brisker go when he's about to turn into the safety you drafted him to be. I know I'm in the minority on this, guys. I preface this whole conversation with that. I know I'm going to be in the minority, maybe on my own on this hill, but I just think you know what Kevin Byard is, and you know what he's going to be. He's just going to get older, and he's not going to get better. Jaquan Brisker, there's a real opportunity for him to get better in coverage, for him to get better at the things that he already does really well. And he showed you he can stay healthy for a season. So, like, I might try to find a way to work that deal. But as Scottish said, it's got to be the right price. If you're talking 12 million, 13 million a year for Jaquan Brisker, I'm all in. If you start getting up to 17, 18, that becomes a different story, and you got to make a hard decision there. I just want to see this team hold on to the guys that they draft. And now Brandon's gone again. Yeah, he doesn't cover well. I get you. And again, I won't beat this topic to death. I just would hate to see the Bears miss out on what Jaquan Brisker is going to turn into, which I think is a really good safety in the NFL, over a few $1 million. And I guess Brandon talked about the defensive draft that Dennis Allen had. Zay Frazier, I think, is going to be a damn good corner. I'm kind of agree. I agree with you there. Shamar got hurt, and he was starting to show some things, and he's got some versatility along that defensive line that they can really utilize. Hippolyte was not a 5th-round pick; he was a 4th-round pick. Makes it sting a little more, especially when the only action he got fucking pancaked by Darnell Washington and was done playing for the rest of the season. I mean, I was hoping Hippolyte was going to step up in that game. I thought he
They're
would.
safe,
He just
everybody. My
really
friend is
didn't
safe.
perform. Okay, very good. What's her name?
Brianna.
I think Dale and Grady were both signings we made for Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen finding players that fit into his defense. And Brandon, you were making a point when I jumped back on that makes a whole lot of sense. If Brisker is not the guy for Dennis Allen's defense, Dennis Allen will identify that, and good riddance. It'll potentially be addition by subtraction. Even if you add a guy that might not be looked at as talented as Jaquan Brisker to replace him, as I said earlier in the show,
He's a very talented player.
he might be a better fit for Dennis Allen, which will make him a better player for this team. And if you can get that guy for cheaper, say on a rookie deal because you draft him, or you identify someone who's sneaking by people in free agency, so be it, man. Scroll says,
listen, I'm not too concerned over the turnover on this roster, Dustin. I know, like obviously, your Darnell Wrights and those guys. You got to get those guys.
Cole, I think we drafted our Reek Woolen in Zay Frazier. That's what I think. I don't think they need to go sign Reek Woolen. I think they have that guy in Zay Frazier. That's what I think. Sorry.
I think that I'm pretty. Listen, and I said this while you stepped, like, guys, for the first time ever, I don't think you got to worry as much. I don't think you got to worry about roster turnover or coaching hires. I think you got to have confidence in the guy took over a terrible organization that is toxic, in its inability to succeed.
That was toxic. Yes, it's no longer.
He turned the culture.
Your service is getting real shitty, bro. Just so you know.
Yeah, it's getting, the culture is different, and I think that Ben will find the coaches he needs, and I think that Dennis Allen will find the players he needs.
I think Ben will find the players he needs too within the draft. I don't think the Bears are just going to go away from offense completely in the draft or in free agency. But if we're sticking with defense, man, one guy I will throw out there. I know defensive end is a big issue for the Bears in terms of just pass rush, getting a straight pass rush with 4 guys on the front. Montez Sweat had his best season as a Bear in my mind. I was happy to see that. I think Austin Booker's going to be a fucking stud. But I still think you need depth and you need rotation to keep guys going at that quarterback, especially if you're going to try to get there with 4 guys up front. I want to say I feel like they need to attack that in free agency and the draft.
Yeah, I think
defensive end.
It's the Bears.
Real quick. Real quick. You do need to attack that, but I want to see the Bears re-sign Dominique Robinson. I think you can get him for cheap, and I think he will be a steal. The way this guy played towards the end of the season was very impressive to me. I loved him when they drafted him. He was a raw dude. He played receiver in college. He turned into a defensive end very late in his college career, and I think he might be turning into what you drafted this guy to be. I really hope the Bears re-sign Dominique Robinson, Brandon. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a cheap deal. I think they will.
You could get a steal on that deal too.
I think Dennis Allen likes him. I think he's not going to be getting call after call. I mean, listen.
I think some teams saw what he did, man. I think he stood out.
Ironically, and I don't like to be right about this. I talked to nauseum about the Bears' edge position and the defensive end, and I thought Sweat played a pretty good season. I thought Booker was developing into a really good player. I think Dye was ass, but your 3-tech is your problem. It's the anchor, and it never seems to fall. There's nothing.
That's the most important position to address in this offseason, Brandon.
I think it is.
It's the 3-tech.
I think it is. And
you need a defensive tackle that can wreck the game. Yes.
And I'm going to say this, guys. I'm going to say this. In my pride in being right, I was wrong. I asked before the season started how many of the what ifs on this defensive line might actually occur, And a lot of them was based around the edge. Will Booker become the
Played
guy that
really
you want him to
well.
be?
Yep.
Will
Sweat
Sweat
played really
earn
well.
his money? And they did. I was
Yep.
wrong. I said they wouldn't, and I was wrong. Dexter, however, is ass. Complete and total ass. And that's the guy
He
that
let
you
me
start
down
with.
big time this season. I thought he was going to have a breakout season and really step into that, dominant 3-tech role that, we had envisioned for him when he was drafted. I didn't like the draft pick, Brandon, if you remember when they drafted
Yeah,
Dexter. I was really pissed off.
we were
I was really
pretty
pissed
upset.
off that they didn't go for Jalen Carter. And then I was even more pissed off when they drafted a guy as raw as Dexter who had no ability to get off on the ball and no ability to like really get leverage, get underneath the pads of the offensive lineman. He
Yeah,
stood straight up.
he stands up.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, and that's just never really gotten better. And it impacts him very, very poorly. Now, if you look in that Packers game when Jordan Love missed that throw to Christian Watson, I mean, Dexter put the pressure in his face, but Dexter got off so late. Dexter got off so late on that snap.
Squirrel. That might have actually benefited him.
It did. It 100% did. Like his quick lack of reaction and get off actually helped him on that play, and he got some pressure because he's just so physically talented and mammoth, But like, there's something missing with Dexter, and I don't think we have our 3 technique on this team. I really don't.
No, I don't either. And the problem with Dexter is because I actually, as much as it might come off, I actually don't dislike Dexter. I think as a role player, he's a really good player. I think his pass rush ability is better than average when it comes to the position, but I think he is such a liability, Dustin, when teams are starting to run up the middle. I just don't. If this guy asks for a contract that reflects the sack numbers versus his overall production, I don't see how you bring this guy back.
Well, the thing is, he's not. You don't have to worry about bringing him back
Right.
this year.
He's a
still
free
here.
agent in a year from now.
Yeah, he's still here.
I don't think Dexter's
He's part of your rotation. He's part of your rotation,
Yeah,
Brandon, for sure.
and I don't think he's the answer at the position. I don't think he's your starter. And I think if you were to hypothetically, if in this draft, even in a late round, with a late pick in the first round, if you were to land that guy, if you were to fix that problem, I think your defensive line's immediately tremendously improved.
Well, Scrolls is throwing out Cole threw out Caden McDonald. Scrolls likes that. Cole says Christian Miller, pass rush upside. I mean, there's the thing about being in that like 25th spot the Bears are going to be is you see a lot of good D tackles in those areas. You saw who did the Steelers get out of Oregon? Why am I blanking on dude's name? I really fucking loved him.
Well, who did the Cardinals take?
The Cardinals took Walter Nolan at 16. Walter Nolan is damn good.
He was like the second best tackle on the draft behind Mason
Grant. So, I mean, like you can get a good D tackle in the spot that the Bears are going to be. You can. Like that is a place that you can look. There will be options. Why am I blanking on the dude? Derek Harmon out of Oregon. That's who the Steelers got at like 22. Yeah. But he was balling out. Like you can find a really good D tackle. Where it's my point. Because that is a position that sometimes gets undervalued, especially the nose tackle, which I think, Billings is a free agent and he's gone. The Bears aren't bringing him back. He did not impact the game enough. He's getting older. You need a nose tackle too. So like we can talk about the 3-tech, but what about that man eater that takes up 2 blocks on a play and frees up a guy?
The interior defensive line is the weakest part.
Needs to be impacted in general. Yes.
Grady Jarrett is the only player worth holding on to in that interior defensive line.
And Shamar Turner.
Yeah.
A dominant defensive tackle changes everything. Correct, Scrolls. And I think the Bears, that would be, in my mind, just looking at it right now, where I would want the Bears to go with their first round pick. Get the best defensive tackle available at that spot and just plug them into your defense. Now, obviously, things are going to change. We're going to have to do a whole lot of draft evaluation. I'm not ready for that conversation right now. But if you're asking me what the biggest need is for the Chicago Bears team, none of it's going to be on offense right now. It's all going to be on defense. It's going to be the 3-tech nose tackle. I need a defensive end. And obviously, if you can only say you're going to have to choose one of these safeties that you're letting go, you're losing a starting safety for sure. That's going to happen. So safety is a really big need, and that might become your biggest need. Or your second biggest behind that 3-tech, Brandon. So like there's a lot of needs on defense the Bears are going to have to address. And I just really hope that they attack this defensive line in this offseason in the same fashion and manner that they attacked the offensive line last year. Ryan Poles needs to make trades. He needs to be active in those. Ryan Poles needs to be active in free agency, and he needs to be active in the draft. He needs to apply the same exact methodology he applied to this offensive line and repairing that in this offseason. He did it very well and in one offseason. He needs to apply that same logic and mentality to how you fix this defensive line.
Yeah.
Purple Jesus, man. It's been a while. What's up, Kyle?
If a trade was on the table for Max Crosby or is it Jeffrey Simmons?
Jeffrey Simmons of the Titans, yes.
I'm going
God
Simmons.
damn, I love that.
I'm going Simmons
guy.
all day.
I love that fucking guy so much. Oh my
I'm
God.
going Simmons all day over a Max Crosby, guys. And I know we want that edge. We want that 12 to 15 sack guy. I'd rather get an 8 sack guy in the middle that just wreaks havoc.
That sets the tone for your entire defense. Yes. Kyle, I had on Sunday, my bet was Caleb 25 plus rushing yards, DeAndre Swift 60 plus rushing yards, Bears plus 3.5, and Colston Loveland 60 plus receiving yards. Colston Loveland got a concussion on his 56-yard receiving. I hit everything else. That was so. If I had just gone 50 yards, Colston Loveland, man, God, that was like a $10 bet to win 100. That was like plus 1,200. That was frustrating. 4 yards short on my parlay. Yeah, ouch for sure. Because Loveland was definitely going to get that.
Give a shout out to these guys, man.
Go ahead.
Purple G. I can't see the chat. Purple Jesus, Visual Joe.
All right. So what the fuck are you talking about?
Fucking.
I've been shouting them out this whole time.
Scottish Bear. Well, I mean, like, it's getting late.
Guys, Purple, Cole, Scrolls, thanks for jumping in. AC Adam was in here earlier, man. Jed, Scottish, as always, man. Scottish, I shouted you out. I shouted Scottish out on YouTube. I saw him
Judah
watching Ben Johnson's press conference, man. You always got very well thought out takes on the Chicago Bears, Scottish. I appreciate you. All of y'all do, though, man. Judah, I don't really want to shout him out. I don't know why you keep doing that. But I'll keep fucking talking shit to him on YouTube when he comments on our videos. And I'll talk shit when he comes in here too. But he was actually decently chill tonight. Shy Tex, as always. True Pilgrim. I know I said Jed already. John S. Man, you guys have been great tonight. The chat has been the superstar as always. I am probably missing someone, but that's okay. You guys keep the comments coming for as long as we're out here. Kyle, it's good to see you back, man. Better luck next year for all of us. I guess we're all of our seasons are done now, but that JJ McCarthy thing, man, I tried to tell you about that before the week 1. We did that show together.
Yeah, we don't shout out Judah. I retract my shout out to
seriously,
Judah.
Brandon, I mean, what the fuck? This guy out here saying put in Tyson Bagent over Caleb Williams after what he just watched. Like, you just had to not watch to still think that. That's where I'm at, Judah. I'm sorry. If you go back and watch this, I wasn't waiting for you to leave to talk shit, but get it together, man. This offseason is going to be crazy. We're going to have a lot of fun covering it. We're always here on Mondays for the House Hall Hangover. We're going to be doing some shit for you on Sunday, Wednesday, the Barely There. And Thursday nights, the bare minimum. The Northside 9 is going to be coming back. Sean and Kyle are going to do their Cubs thing. I'm super excited for this offseason, guys. The future is bright for this Bears team. What a fucking season. It hurts that they're not playing again. It really does this week. It's a hard realization to come to because you really feel like they could have been and should have been if a couple things have gone differently. They had done a couple things differently. But this team gave us a lot more than we expected, gave us a lot more than we become accustomed to as Chicago Bears fans. And there's only growth from here. This was a lay the foundation year. The foundation is up, and like we're already framing this motherfucker. We're well ahead of schedule. And I don't see regression coming out of this coaching staff. We'll see where things kind of fall with the coaching interviews and how much more of the staff we lose. But we trust in Ben, right, Brandon? He's going to make the right decisions to replace these guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
This team is going to make the right offseason personnel decisions. That's all they've put on paper for us so far to see is that we can trust these guys. They know how to identify talent. They know how to grow and develop it. and they know how to utilize it on the fucking football field, man. That's all we know. And Caleb Williams is our goddamn quarterback, and thank fucking God he is a god. Goddamn Caleb Williams. That throw, I'll never forget that fucking throw, man. The feeling that I had. I'll relive that feeling every time I think of that
I won't
throw.
forget half the throws from this season. It's his second year. It's
Mhm.
crazy. This guy's
The
gonna have highlight
sky's the
throws
fucking limit.
You think the highlight throws are gonna stop anytime soon, guys?
Kyle says you worry about that guy. I'll worry about mine. I'm not worried. You can worry. I'm not worried about Caleb Williams. Future is bright. The future is bright, Kyle.
Okay,
And we
Williams
were
was
still the better
quarterback of
team,
the
even though we
Vikings. They'd be
lost.
in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah, Scrolls, the Bears dominated that game statistically in every way. It sucks, man. But that experience matters, Brandon. We talked about that. Sean McVay, been
Well,
there,
why is that a
done that.
bad
Matt
thing? That's what
Stafford's
bothers
been there
everybody.
and done
Sean
that.
said it on the show, like the way they lost, they were in the game.
The fact that they were in the game is awesome.
Would you
when
have,
you're going against
would you
that
have
Rams team,
would you have respected
100%.
more that they just got their ass whooped at home?
No. It's just you wouldn't have so much letdown and regret.
It's a good way to lose, to take a team to overtime with historically the largest spread at home a playoff team ever had.
The Bears really did not put a stinker on the field this year besides that Lions game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they played hard in every game. I asked about a word or a thought that comes to mind. Grit with this season and this
Resiliency.
team. Resiliency. They do not give up. They do not quit. That's a direct reflection of your coach and your quarterback. And those motherfuckers are still here. And they're going to be here, and they're not going nowhere. So this team will continue to have those things, and they will continue to play close games, and they will continue to win them. Grown men caring about another man's nails is pretty gay, not going to lie. I'll tell you what, the one thing that bothers me is guys going and getting their nails painted that didn't give a shit about the Bears a year ago. You know what I'm saying? Like when you just didn't care about the Bears, but then they started winning, and now you want to go paint your nails. It's a little weird to me. I'll just say it's bandwagony. I think that's the gayest part about it to me. If I had to say, you weren't doing this last year. I mean, this has been our quarterback this whole time.
Hating on Caleb in general.
The loss
Maybe,
of the Ravens was disappointing.
I'll say this, man. I want everybody who's a Bears fan to be a Bears fan. I want those who root for the Bears to support their players. But all of those who didn't support Caleb Williams and now you watch, just learn a lesson. Learn the same. Apply.
Don't be so quick to judge. Let's let things play out.
Rome. Apply it now. You've got Rome. There's so much Rome hate out there because he had a conversation with his receivers coach before he exited the season, versus the guy who just disappeared. But have some patience. Have some patience, guys.
Yeah.
Patience with Caleb, patience with Ben, patience with Rome, patience with.
We've waited this long, Brandon. We've been through hell as Bears fans. One of the most tortured franchises in the NFL, man. You got to put the Bills up there. You got to put the Browns up there. The Bears are in some elite territory with tortured franchises throughout my lifetime. So it's taken us this long to get here. Why not have some patience to watch something really fucking great develop and grow right in front of you? I mean, I firmly believe that game, that loss, this playoff run, this season will set the tone in terms of this team having that experience and gone through that at such a young spot in their growth that it's going to just prove immense in terms of how they approach next season. It's going to pay huge dividends for how this team approaches its business on a game-to-game basis, and they're going to have an edge because of it. And yeah, I'm with you, man. I think Caleb lights the league on fire in this upcoming season, and I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it.
I'll be making that bet.
My man, this has been a lot of fun. I think we did a good job trying to put some shit in perspective and keep it really, level-headed in terms of how we approached it. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Bears do. I'm looking forward to being with you guys throughout this entire offseason and just doing a whole lot of speculation and draft grading and having no idea what the fuck we're talking about, but pretending we do, and then having a stable front office and coaching staff that we can trust to actually make the right decisions when it comes down to it, man. It's the first time I felt confident in that in a long time.
Future is bright, guys.
Oh yeah, man. Guys, it has been a blast. We appreciate all of you. Go get some sleep. Share the show with a friend. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Like it on the way out. We love you. Bear the fuck down.
Bear the fuck down. Fuck the Packers.